Oh man, good time.
Hey, go ahead. What's going on, everybody? Y'all know what it is.
Yes, sir.
Y'all see these four faces on your screen, which
Year.
means the Kings are back in town. And y'all, did anything happen since the last time we met?
Oh my gosh, a whole bunch.
It feels like a couple of things happened, just a few things. This show was supposed to be centered around reacting to the combine, and that's like
Mhm.
5 items down the list.
Yeah.
Like we got so much to dive into. How's everybody doing, man? How's everybody doing?
I'm
Great.
lovely. I'm lovely, man. Enjoying this
Excited.
bipolar weather of the DMV. Moves are being made. We got a new addition to the room. The NFL let loose on Wednesday today. I'm not gonna hold you.
Man, it went crazy. It's a precursor to what's to come next week, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think I want everybody's initial reaction. We're just gonna dive in tonight because there's so much to get to tonight. So I think the first thing I want to do is dive into everybody's reaction to the Deebo Samuel trade. We've talked about all the options that may have existed for us this offseason. And it was funny in our group text. Deebo Samuel trade happened. We were excited, and then today DK Metcalf requests a trade, and just it seems like a little too late, too little, too late. But we're gonna talk about that a little bit. Deebo Samuel reactions. I want to start with you, Rico. What was your initial reaction to us getting Deebo Samuel and on a Sunday, no less, during the combine?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, that was out of nowhere. I mean, like Rio pointed out behind the scenes, the fact that we were the first major move of the all season, the first trade, like Rio said, we're trendsetters. And so I was just excited because, I thought that we would make a move on Deebo, but I thought we would wait till he was released. And I was one of those people that was kind of like, I hope we wait till he's released just so we can save the draft pick. But I'm not gonna lie. The fact that we traded a fifth for him shows it makes me more optimistic about his future here because it shows they really wanted him. Like they weren't even gonna take the risk of him going somewhere else, him hitting free agency. This team really wanted Deebo Samuel. That has me even more excited about what Cliff Kingsbury is gonna do with him, how he'll be utilized in this offense. Because these guys clearly made him a priority. I mean, there were other options out there. They could have waited until free agency. They were like, no, let's go get Deebo before free agency even starts. We want to start free agency with Deebo already a part of the team. And so I know we're gonna dive into like the X's and O's, like what he'll play and everything like that. But my initial reaction was like, hey, better than anything else we had outside of Terry last year, at least. And people are gonna, even as a draft guy, I feel like sometimes we place too much value on draft picks, and it's different. Ron Rivera, a fifth round draft pick, is pretty much a waste. Adam Peters is different. You expect Adam Peters to come in and get quality players with fifth round picks, but it's really hard to find a guy to contribute as much as Deebo will, right, at least in 2025. Because right now we're trying to build towards the future, but also win now too. We know our Super Bowl window is right now. Deebo Samuel definitively makes you better right now, no matter what your opinions are of him.
That's right. Rio.
After going back and watching condensed versions of all of our games last year, Lord help us, this team needs yards after catch receivers. Call our receivers the fall down bandits, including the number one. Like our guys catch the ball and they fall down. We have an absolute bowling ball with the ball in their hand. Dare I say Deebo is the best receiver with the ball in his hands in the entire NFL. Yards after contact, yards after catch. Even in a down year, Deebo was significantly better than everybody not named Terry McLaurin on this roster. So who am I or anyone else to scoff at an upgrade for a fifth round pick? Fifth round pick, $17 million against the cap. And I was one of those people the day it was announced that he was seeking a trade, like, we better not go give up a third round pick for Deebo Samuel. We better not go give up a day 2 pick for this guy. I wouldn't want to trade for him. I'd want to sign him. The trade happened, and I immediately said, oh, shit, we got better. We got better today. We got a weapon. We're going to get a motivated Deebo Samuel because you know how players transform in a contract year. And we have the perfect system and offensive coordinator to throw him in with because Cliff Kingsbury, he can do the positionless football thing, and he could get Deebo in mismatches and situations to be out in space. If you get Deebo out in space with guys, that's going to be advantageous for this offense. And it also helps in the option game. We got a quarterback who ran for 900 yards last year. When he pulls it on the option and all we had was Eckler and B-Rob in the backfield, well, guess what? Now you have Deebo Samuel to be worried about in the option game as well. And I think we're going to draft a running back at some point. So that's another game of matchups that Cliff could play. And we got Jaden Daniels. He's going to get him the ball. He's going to extend plays, and there's going to be a multitude of ways we can get this guy the ball. I'm excited to see what he can do. And if it don't work out, it was a 5th-round pick, $17 million, and we can wash our hands with it. I like the trade.
And I wanted to add to that, too, even back to the 5th-round pick point. You have to go back to basically Matt Ioannidis since the last time we've had like a true impactful. I mean, you could throw Cole Holcomb in there as well. I mean, because when we're talking about 5th-round picks, we're talking about Jeremy Sprinkles. Again, Adam Peters is different, and I'm really high on Jordan McGee. But, I mean, even Dominique Hampton didn't play until the last game of the season. He may have played like a single-digit amount of special teams.
He played?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, like single digit
news to me.
Special teams
purely. So, and then also just I feel like the best way to describe Deebo to people that may be down on him is that he's shiftier than running backs, and he's harder to tackle than your typical wide receiver. I feel like he presents a lot, and he's never played with a quarterback like Jaden Daniels. He's had elite options outside around him. But if you go back and look at that 2024 tape specifically, which is considered the big down year for him, you see a lot of moments where Brock Purdy, good quarterback, not Jaden Daniels, overthrowing him, throwing it behind him, and either he's not able to catch it because of the inaccurate throw from the quarterback, or he catches it and he's not able to maximize his yards after catch because of the inaccuracy of the quarterback. And you don't have to worry about that with Jaden Daniels. He's going to put it right on the money, and Deebo Samuel is going to feast, especially with Terry McLaurin getting all of the attention on the other side.
Yeah. Ed.
Yeah. No, I hate that you guys brought up Jeremy Sprinkle, man. He was
Sprinkle me, bitch.
I know who keeps bringing up Bryce Love and Jeremy Sprinkle in this stream, man. Who's doing that?
I'm guilty of Bryce Love. I brought him up about 2-3 times.
Right. But so Deebo, it's a good trade. I know when we all did our top 5 like options, Garrett Wilson, DK Metcalf, and Cooper Kupp, Deebo was last on my list. Yeah. So I'm not gonna fake like I was excited about the trade. I think we all saw it coming with the Adam Peters and San Fran connection, but clearly we got better. We, like Rio said, we needed a yak guy. We needed somebody that could make something happen, make something shake after the catch. We just don't have that. And a lot of sites were coming out with numbers for like wide receiver screens. We threw the 3rd most wide receiver screens last year. We were bad at it. We were terrible at it. And Cliff really wants to do it because we ran it a lot. But Deebo was 6 yards after the catch last year. That was with a down year. And I think the pneumonia was a real thing, man. Like if you look at a couple of games before pneumonia, he had 2 100-yard receiving games. He had the big game against the Seahawks, and then he had another big game. He has big games against the Eagles too, which will really, really help. And what we wanted in Curtis Samuel, what we wanted in Antonio Gibson, like this is what Deebo Samuel can give us. Like people talking about, the next Deebo Samuel. Like, no, we have Deebo Samuel. People were talking about Luther Burden could be the next Deebo. Now we have Deebo Samuel, so you can use him correctly, and he's definitely going to give a different dynamic to the offense. Is he your prototype number 2 wide receiver? Probably not, but he's a weapon, and we needed that. We need somebody that can come in and change this offense so you can get different matchups against linebackers and use them in different ways. So it's an upgrade. It's a 5th-round pick. It may be a 1-year rental. We'll see, but we didn't have to give up much. So I'm fine with it. Could we have waited for another receiver like DK? Who knows? But I think it's a solid move. I think he's motivated. He's got a chip on his shoulder, and I think he's going to come in at a good weight. And the thing about the weight, too, you don't want him to be, like, super lean. Like, you want him to keep that weight on so he can bounce off guys and be physical and run over people. So he does need to keep on some weight, but we don't – what is it, 225 is the perfect weight for him, or 215 or whatever. So, we will be monitoring that for sure. But I think you do want him to stay at a certain weight so he can still have that toughness to his game. So we got a dog, though. We got a dog coming up with the boombox out to start the games and whatnot. We got another dog on the team. So we definitely got more physical. We got tougher. and we need that from him. So there's some concerns for sure with like hitting the long snapper in the face and whatnot. But sometimes you need a dog on the team, and I think we got that in Deebo. So
I mean, sometimes you got to smack a specialist, man.
Yeah. Like
you got to be selective with which specialist you're going after, man.
Yeah.
Nobody
Sponsored
cares
by Rio
about
Robinson.
Snapper, man.
This message was brought to you by Rio Robinson.
Sometimes you got to smack a specialist, right?
We got shout out to Deebo on Friday. We got the mean guy.
Oh no, Rio.
This message was sponsored by Rio Robinson.
Yeah, Rico. Yeah. Sometimes that's his mantra, right?
Just a black and white picture of Rio Robinson smiling.
Hey, that's his mantra. Hey, sometimes you got to smack a specialist.
Got to, man.
Hey, I agree with all of y'all wholeheartedly, man. I don't have much to add other than we had to come away, and I said one of the first items we would get in this process was a number 2 receiver, right? He's not the traditional number 2 wide receiver in the sense of just line him up at receiver and he's going to go get you, 8 to 1,200 yards. But what he does in aggregate as a pass catcher, a receiver, a rusher, and don't forget, you can also put Deebo back on kickoffs. They've done that in San Francisco as well. Not saying that that's what they'll do here, but I don't know how much more we're going to see of Austin Eckler back there after what happened last season. So it'll be interesting to see what they do on kickoffs, because I really don't need to see Luke McCaffrey back there anymore, right? But that's another conversation for another day. I'm just excited that they got this number 2 option to help Terry. For so long, we've been looking for someone, and I think it's just the beginning of what's to come. And I think that beautifully segues right into the next conversation is what's next for the Commanders. So you acquire Deebo Samuel, who is reportedly washed, if you ask any other fan base outside of this one. And 49ers fans, they've actually said, hey, we think you're going to get a motivated Deebo because he hears the noise. He understands the narrative.
Yeah, they all sound optimistic about his fit in Washington. Yeah. Before we can move on to what's next, can I present a question to the room before we do that?
Absolutely.
Okay. I want everybody to give their way too early yardage, total all-purpose yardage predictions for Deebo in 2025.
Ooh.
Not counting kick return, just as a receiver and running back, total yards, touchdowns in 2025.
See, that's difficult because
we don't know what the rest of it. We don't know what the rest.
They could add 2 more. They could add a dog at receiver in the draft in the second round, and then add another receiver like a Christian Kirk.
Let's predict he gets the second most touches as the wide receiver for this team, or just the second most offensive touches on the roster.
Okay. More than Zach Ertz as well.
Second most touches.
A
true number 2 in touches, but we're moving them all over the place.
I'd say 1,100 yards total. 822 receiving and another 311 rushing.
Yeah, see, I'll probably go a little higher, about the same total, but I'll probably go a little higher receiving, a little less running. I think they're definitely going to try to keep them fresh. Things get a little weird, like when what counts as a rushing,
That's why I was saying
touch.
That because some of those, if it's behind the line of scrimmage, it's a rush. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So but I agree with you. I don't think it's going to be as many him in the backfield getting tosses like they did in San Francisco. I don't see that.
Yep. But I'm right around your total.
Yeah, sure. I see him around 800 receiving, 200 rushing, something like that.
What about you?
I was saying it's got to be over 1,000, right? If he's getting touches like that, it's got to be over 1,000. We've seen what this guy is capable of if he gets the right amount of touches and opportunities, and he's locked in. And dare I say, he shows up versus Dallas and Philadelphia. Ooh, this is gonna be fun. He got his number 1 op on the Philadelphia Eagles and Gardner Johnson. There's beef between those two. It's gonna get fun.
Yes,
I'd say 1,050. I'll take 1,050 total yards between the two. And hey, maybe we throw him out at kick return. So I don't really want him back at kick return. You're an offensive weapon. We got a Curtis Samuel this thing over here.
Yeah.
And to add to it too, I feel like a lot of people, because after this trade, I went and listened to every 49ers reporter that would talk about him.
Same.
And they brought up good points about like how he's the one that gave Trent Williams his swag. Like, like Trent Williams always knew he was good, but he never really showed it out loud. He never walked like it off the field. And Deebo Samuel was the one that basically told him, you got to speak up for yourself and walk that walk. Like, because we know you can talk the talk, but you gotta show it. And so that's the type of culture and addition you're adding to the room right there, where the Jaden Daniels infectious energy, Deebo Samuel's infectious, and maybe it's in a slightly different way, but we're bringing another guy that's probably going to be a great recruiter in free agency, if anything, as well.
Yep, 1057 touchdowns. Book it.
Yeah. I know some of those outfits be a little sassy though.
Oh yeah, they be crazy. That's Fashion Week. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. We gonna see how that goes over with the rest of the locker room, because
as a Westbrook fan, I'm used to it.
I'm about to say he told Russell Westbrook hold my beer. He definitely dresses like an NBA player, like the new age NBA player.
Facts.
Yeah,
without question. Yeah, some Kyle Kuzma bullshit.
Yeah, that's his guy.
So we had a lot of news break today, with guys getting released. Tyler Lockett, Christian Kirk will be released. DK Metcalf requested a trade. Devontae Adams got released yesterday. So things got really interesting for a team that we feel like is not done. Far from it in terms of acquisitions, adding to the roster.
Say that again.
So with that said, DK Metcalf requested a trade today.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you guys stand? So we had an interesting conversation on my channel. When that news broke, I was live, and someone in the comment section made a great point, and I don't disagree with this point. And he said, you're using the Jonathan Allen money essentially to pay Deebo Samuel. So that's a wash, right?
Yeah. Just like it never happened.
Right. So I'm like, okay, that's accurate. And he said, you can still pay. Terry's going to probably get an extension. You're going to probably pay him over $30 million a year. Well deserved.
Now, technically, probably make him even slightly cheaper 2025 wise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Gotta add some. Mm-hmm.
And DK is going to want an extension, obviously, which is why he wants out of Seattle. And you're going to pay him $30 million. You're in the same boat as Cincinnati. The big difference is we're not paying Joe Burrow, right? We're not paying Jaden Daniels. And I looked at year 4 because I think that's when it would really be problematic, or at least I thought. I looked at Jaden Daniels' 4th year because in my mind, they're going to probably extend him after year 3 if this continues in the direction that it's going. And usually year 1 of a big contract is pretty. It's a pretty insignificant hit to the cap because you're giving up so much bonus money. But I was just looking at his rookie deal, and it's only $12 million in year 4. So it's not even that bad. So what I'm trying to get at is, would you be okay with paying $230? Would you be okay with investing $60 million into one position? That being the wide receiver position, not adding in any of the other guys that are here, and they're not making a ton of money, but would you be okay investing $60 million into one position, not name the quarterback position? I'll start with you, Rio. $60 million on 2 receivers. Would you be okay? Because you could still theoretically do that now. It's probably going to cost you a 2nd-round pick, I believe, to get DK Metcalf. And if I'm pretty sure if you're interested, maybe you try to throw Jonathan Allen in the deal to push down the price to get it to a 3rd, maybe, right? I don't know if Seattle's even interested in him or not, but would you be okay? Would you even entertain the thought of spending $60 million between 2 receivers?
I mean, I've seen us spend over 50 on unproductive defensive tackles. So, like, why would I not welcome having a wide receiver? Bro, we got the best young quarterback in the game. Can you imagine we unite the 2019 wide receiver Avengers? These guys are all from the same draft class. Deebo on one side, Deebo in the slot with Terry and DK on the outside. It sounds Madden like, It sounds fantasy football like. It sounds like overkill because you're trading for back-to-back receivers, even though you just gave up a fifth for whatever. But it sounds daunting until you realize, like, bro, between Johnny Newton, Jonathan Allen, and Daron Payne, we're paying $50 million plus for the not greatest productive room of defensive tackles, and we're the second to worst rushing defense in the entire league. It makes you real quick think, yeah, I probably would spend $60 million on the wide receiver room. You know what Jaden's never going to have to worry about ever again? Targets. You know what the difference is between what we put out on that field last year, Terry and the crew, Terry and the gang, like Cool in the gang, compared to Deebo. Like, it sounds crazy. I don't think we're going to do it, but would I do it? I wouldn't have a problem with it because I've seen us put a bunch of money on the field for no production. So you're going to get production out of DK Metcalf and Deebo Samuel. So I'm not going to hold you. Sure, I would do it. And when you say 60 million, the cap hits aren't going to exactly be that. They're gonna juice it up. They're gonna NFL it up, and it's gonna be monopoly money. And we're gonna get them cap hits down, and we're gonna be paying like 43 million to our three receivers between those two. And it's like, maybe when you count in the rest of the guys at 60, why not? I mean, I would do it. I would see why that would be advantageous for us.
And now, one thing I can say about our organization, and I love this about them, they're strictly cash to cap. So it won't be a bunch of restructuring or kicking the can down the road and 5 voidable years at the back end of a contract. They're strictly cash to cap. So if he's making 28 next year, it's 28 next year. Like, they're not going to be moving money around. That's how you end up in these Dallas Cowboys situations where you got to keep restructuring guys' contracts and things of that nature. They don't do that. And that's a good thing. That's what keeps your cap situation healthy. Ed, what do you say? Would you be willing to invest over 60 million? Because more likely than not, Terry's going to get over 30. I'm thinking like 31, 32. And DK is going to be right in that same neighborhood, $31 million per year. Would you be okay with that?
No, I wouldn't. You gotta put some money in. You gotta put some money in the defense. So yeah, you're just gonna have to. I wouldn't say go cheap on the third receiver, but it's probably gonna be Rio's guy, Nick Westbrook-Akina. They're probably
We're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're not doing that, Ed.
Come get your money, Nick. Come get your money, Westbrook.
We're not putting that in the atmosphere, Ed. We're not doing that.
Hollywood Brown, guys like that, is going to be somebody like that being the number 3 or a rookie. So you got to, because we haven't, of course, with free agency, we're going to address the defense, the draft, and the Myles Garrett trade is kind of looking more and more like it's not going to happen. We'll see. But yeah, you gotta allocate the money in other places. I think the offensive line, we'll see what happens there. But yeah, I can't put that much money into the wide receiver position. I would love it though. Like adding DK, it may be worth it though.
We'd have so much fun.
Yeah, adding DK to the room. If you can get DK, then yeah, you definitely consider it. But for me, it's like you got to put some money to that defense, especially after the way the NFC Championship game went and the way the defense played last year. You got to allocate some money there. But yeah, no, thinking about DK as your number 2 and then Deebo would be your number 3. That would be the best wide receiver core in the league. You talk about a trio. That's
without question.
Yeah, that's the number 1 trio in the league by far. And you help your young quarterback while he's on a rookie deal. This is the time to do stuff like that. If you're going to do it, this is the time to do it. So I see the argument for it, but it would be hard for me to invest that much money because yeah, you got Terry's getting that extension. It's going to be 30 mil, 31, like you said. It's going to be over that for sure.
I think he's going to the Chargers or the Patriots, to be honest.
What about you, Rico?
Yeah, I definitely would. I feel like, first of all, it'll be a nice reward to Jaden Daniels. Thank you for carrying this team to the NFC Championship. Let's get you some actual real weapons now. He was out there with Terry and a band of misfits and putting in work. I know I keep saying it in a lot of my videos and these live streams. This guy threw 2 touchdowns to Olamide and Jamison Crowder each in one game. Imagine what he could do with those guys, which some people may bring as a counter argument. Jada doesn't need weapons like that, but everybody keeps saying people are going to adjust to Jada Daniels. They're going to figure out there's no way you can adjust to Jaden, first of all, in general, let alone you add Deebo Samuel and DK Metcalf to this group. I just feel like a lot of people are acting like Jaden's about to have this sophomore slump because defense will have film on him. There's no film for Deebo and DK and Terry. There's just nothing for that. And then my second point is the Eagles keep finding a way. They just paid the two most devalued positions in all of football, big time contracts in Zach Bond and Saquon Barkley, and they still are somehow nearly in $22 million in cap space. With Saquon signed through 2030, Jalen Hurts signed through 2029, AJ Brown 2030, Devonta Smith 2030, their star left tackle Jordan Mailata 2029, Lander Dickinson 2029. It's always ways to make it happen somehow with the contract finesses, whatever. We got a good one in Brandon Sosner that we brought over from the Detroit Lions that a lot of teams wanted. If the Eagles can do it, I feel like we could as well. I mean, it is a lot to put that much money into one specific position group, but again, the Eagles are finding a way to do it. Why can't we?
I'm about to say Devontae Smith and AJ making some good money over there.
They are, but Devontae took less too. Like we got to make sure we talk about him being willing to essentially give the Eagles a hometown discount to allow them to reallocate resources elsewhere, because he could have easily tried to push the envelope to get close to 30. And he was like, nah, I'm good with this 25. I think it's like 25. I'm good with this 25. I'm not even going to trip. So you got to really appreciate when guys are willing to do that. That helps out for the long term. But my thought process is, while I would love to add a DK Metcalf, and y'all know that was the number one guy on my list, right?
Yep, that was your guy.
That was my guy. That's the one I wanted the most. But Jaden doesn't need DK Metcalf. I feel like Christian Kirk, and I said this earlier, like just close your eyes and imagine a wide receiver group with Terry McLaurin, Deebo Samuel, Christian Kirk, a rookie you draft in the second round. Let's say Jaden Higgins in the second round, or Trey Harris, whatever floats your boat, right? I would like it to be a bigger receiver, a bigger body, physical receiver, someone with some size, but just one of these guys in the second round that you develop, and then you re-sign either OZ or Noah Brown, right? And now you got Luke McCaffrey, and that's your 6 receivers. And think about the stark contrast between last year's group and this year's group, and you're not paying Christian Kirk anywhere. You're not even paying him $20 million a year.
Nope.
You're getting Christian Kirk for 14. That same deal you just gave. What's the edge rusher's name?
Dorrance Armstrong.
Dorrance Armstrong Jr. The same deal you just gave him, that 3 for 45, 3 for 48, whatever his deal is, 351. Same deal you giving Christian Kirk.
You giving Christian Kirk 3? Because he's injury prone the last couple seasons.
Yeah. So in my mind, it's 3, and then that last year is an exit ramp year. Like if you're happy with him, I'm cool, right? If I'm not, it's no guaranteed money in that last year, and you can move on from, similar to Jonathan Allen, right? That's what that last year looks like. So it's almost like a team option, so to speak. So that's what I see, right? It could be a 2-year deal, but if I'm Christian Kirk, I want a 3-year deal, right? So I think it's a 3-year deal, because everything that we do, everything that they've done so far, and I don't see that necessarily changing this offseason, has been centered around keeping the books clean for when Jaden is due for the extension after his 3rd season, right? If you look at all the deals, nobody got a deal higher than a 3-year deal last year, right?
Nope.
You had guys sign 1-year deals, 2-year deals. 3 was the most they gave out. So with that thinking, Kirk would then get a 2-year deal. But I'm thinking they're going to sign a corner in free agency. If it's Mooney Ward, it's probably a 2-year. It could be a 2-year deal, right? But it more likely than not is a 3-year deal, right? So in my mind, I'm saying Christian Kirk's probably going to sign a 3-year deal. And you can get Christian Kirk for $14, $15 million a year. And that's good money for your second option. Theoretically speaking, he's a 3rd option. That's where he shines best, as a 3rd option, which is why you sign him to a 3-year deal. You draft that guy in the 2nd round, 1st round, whatever. If Matthew Golden is there at 29, take him, right? At 29. What are we talking about? He's not going to be there at 20.
He's just having an abundance of weapons at that point.
He's running. He ran his way into the top half of the 1st round. But if he was there at 29, take him, right? And then you could have him ready to step into that number 2 role next year. So at the end of the day, we're in a really good spot, which transitions me to Who do you guys think that Christian Kirk is going to end up here? Because I am adamant, sort of like Rio was adamant that we were going to get Myles Garrett. I am adamant that we're going to end up with Christian Kirk. Do you guys think we're going to add another veteran receiver? Are they going to bypass that, bring back the two guys from last year, draft a rookie, and keep it pushing? What do you guys foresee happening? We'll start with you this time, Ed.
Oh, Christian Kirk's happening. That's happening. They got the old quotes about Cliff hyping up Christian Kirk. This regime, they really like getting guys that they have familiarity with. Clearly, Dan Quinn, a lot of Cowboys like Tyler Biadasz, Noah I, Dante Fowler, and Dorrance Armstrong. And Cliff has brought in some guys too. So now Adam Peters bringing in Deebo, some Niners guys. I think we're going to bring Charvarius Ward and some Niners guys are on their way in the future in the next week with free agency. So I think Cliff is going to have some influence here and bring in Christian Kirk. It makes sense. It just makes too much sense for him to be our number 3 guy. He's not going to break the bank. So around 14, 15, maybe even cheaper than that. And I think he fits the hierarchy too, because you're going to have Terry as your number 1 guy. And then, Christian Kirk's going to fill in, and he's going to stretch the defense too. He's still a deep threat. He does have the injury. It's a collarbone injury. So it's not a lower leg injury, which is a positive thing. Yeah. And he's more the route runner that we're looking for, a guy that can separate and get open, because Deebo's going to be your yak guy, but you get a receiver that's going to beat man coverage and Christian Kirk.
Deebo's not a crisp route runner, right?
Yeah,
at all.
Christian Kirk, right. That's what Christian Kirk provides you.
Christian Kirk's going to fit the mold. He's going to know what Cliff wants. He's familiar with the playbook, so it just makes too much sense. And what is he, like 29 or something like that? So he's going to. He is 28, so he's still relatively young. So he fits, like, he's perfect to be that number 3, number 2. He's an upgrade over OZ. He's an upgrade over Noah Brown. He's an upgrade over all the number 2s that all the guys that we were trying to make play the number 2 receiver. He's better than those guys. So it just makes too much sense with Cliff. It makes a lot of sense.
Rico.
Yeah, I agree. It just seems like only a matter of time. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if this is the first announcement we get when the legal tampering period starts March 10th. Like, I would not. It just makes too much sense. Again, to Ed's point about the familiarity, and then Cliff Kingsbury saying, like, the exact quote, he's one of his favorite players that he's ever been around. And, of course, he's going to sell that to Dan Quinn, because Dan Quinn loves guys that are, like, super duper work ethic, on and off the field. You don't have to worry about them first in, last guys out type of guys. He's that. At least Cliff Kingsbury says that he is, and will vouch for him. I mean, I feel like, honestly, if every top coach in our coaching staff has like a one voucher every season that I want this guy, and they go up to Adam Peters like, please get me this guy, I feel like that would be Cliff Kingsbury's guy, just off rip. And I feel like he would fit in so well, because Deebo Samuel, he's going to be moved all around. He's pretty versatile. Christian Kirk would be like that your starting slot. He wouldn't demand that much of attention. And I feel like even just a couple of years ago when he went for over 1,000 yards, and he was like one of the main things that the defense focused on stopping, he still was productive. So now he would come here and be a third option. I definitely expect him to eat here. And then again, same thing with Deebo Samuel. Hasn't played with a quarterback as good as Jaden Daniels.
Rio.
Yeah. It definitely feels like this is happening. Like Rico said, it wouldn't surprise him Monday. We could sign him tomorrow. Like, we could sign him by the weekend, because when you're released before the league year starts, you're available to sign immediately. Alex Kappa just got released a couple days ago.
Raiders.
He signed him a deal today.
So the question is, did they release him, or did they set him to be released when the league year starts? Is he released already? That's the thing I don't know.
Oh yeah, that is the thing. Yeah. But I believe if he's released, then they can get cracking
you
on
can
that
get it cracking right now. Like, you don't have to wait.
I don't even know why they signed him.
And that's Cliff's guy. And like Louie said, when you close your eyes and you say our starting receiver group is in the slot, Christian Kirk, Deebo moving all around the place, Terry on one side with Jaden Daniels, not to mention we're expecting a running back to be added, like a dynamic running back to be added to the mix. That's way better than what we had. That is a significant upgrade at multiple spots. And this is a guy who's open a lot. He's open a lot. He creates separation, and he knows the offense. He doesn't need any acclimation period to Cliff Kingsbury's system. He already speaks the language. This is the dude who reset the wide receiver market a few years back. He's why all this wide receiver money went crazy. Remember when people were expecting Christian Kirk to get like a moderate contract, and then they hit him with the 4 for 72 in Jacksonville, and then all of a sudden everybody started.
All hell broke loose after that.
Yep, he was the Deshaun Watson of wide receiver contract. So yeah, I can see it. I feel like we could possibly get him for less than the number Louie's talking about, because he's only played in 20 of the 34 games in the last 2 seasons. So he's missed 14 games over the last 2 seasons. But his first season in Jacksonville, he was nails. He was really good. His last season with Cliff, just under 1,000 yards. He can hoop, and as a third option, I would feel so comfortable going into week 1 with that starting trio of receivers. And we're not done yet at that point. We'll probably bring one of our guys back and throw a rookie at some point. That's a room right there, man.
Oh, yeah, I'm starting to think about the possibilities, man. Go ahead, Rico.
And just even to add to that, like, I feel like the best way to really look at it is we're basically going from De'Ami Brown to Deebo Samuel and Jamison Crowder to potentially a Christian Kirk. And I feel like those are upgrades across the board. And again, if Jada Davis could do what he did last year with what he had, imagine what he could do with these guys.
Nobody brings up Luke.
I try to always throw him in at the end. I be feeling bad because I'm like, we haven't given up on you, Luke. I swear we haven't.
But we just can't act as if that's like stopping us from upgrading.
Exactly. Like we can't allow the growth that we're hoping to see stop us from upgrading the talent around Jaden Daniels. We have to continue to build this bully, because as you can see, the Bears are going and spending no expense to. They already surrounded Caleb with weapons. They did that last year, right? So the offensive line was his issue. Well, they went out and traded for 2 guards to fortify that offensive line. So you already see what the Eagles are doing. They're bringing all of their pieces back. You know they're going to keep doing things, right? You see that it's going to get competitive. So you got to be willing to go out here and do whatever it takes to put your young quarterback in a position to succeed. And it sucks because, hey, we trying to push Luke all the way down to the 6th option. Like if we draft another rookie,
it's gonna be a dogfight for a roster spot. I mean, because imagine you bring back one of either De'Ami or Noah, and then you fool around, bring back OZ, and then you draft somebody in the 3rd or 4th round. I mean, that's like 6 receivers already.
It's gonna be slim pickings.
Yeah, well, De'Ami ain't coming back. He got a deal waiting on him. I'm telling you,
he got options. He got options.
People keep thinking De'Ami's out here, hoping we offer him. De'Ami's going first day. De'Ami's got a 3-year, $24 million deal waiting on him. Watch what
somebody watch the playoffs.
Yeah, somebody's they starving out there. Do you think the New England Patriots ain't starving right now? They starving, bro. They
UNC boy to UNC boy. Oh, I can see that.
But yeah, Luke's not going anywhere. They drafted him in their first draft in the 3rd round. He's going to be one of the 6 receivers. I think my formula all along has been you're either going to go out here and get another veteran, which now it looks a lot more promising with the release of Christian Kirk. Then you add one of our guys from last year, either Noah Brown or OZ. We know Dan loves OZ, so it's going to be tough to see which one they pick. And then you draft a rookie, and then you got Luke, right? Or you could not draft a rookie because it's funny, we only have 6 picks. Like it's not like we still got a bunch of stuff that we have to do, right? Like think about, so let me ask you guys this question. Of the needs that we have, what are the 3 greatest needs heading, like assuming that we get a corner in free agency, because we are, assuming that we get a receiver in free agency, another one, because we are, assuming that they get some sort of, like, even if it's just bringing back Dante Fowler Jr. and Jalen Holmes, right? Let's just assume that they're going to do those things. Not necessarily Holmes, but they're bringing back Dante Fowler Jr. What are the biggest needs for this team heading into the draft? the 3 biggest needs? Because you only got 3 picks in the first 2 days, and then you don't have another pick until the 6th round.
Long wait in between. It feels like a 48-hour wait until your next pick. Yeah, we go from the 3rd round to like the end of the 6th. It's like, oh.
Mm-hmm.
So
you gotta make some decisions. What are the 3 biggest needs for you guys?
It's tricky
because there's a lot of needs.
It's tricky. It's tricky because it's like, for real, we getting Ertz back, but like, what do we really have at we don't know what we have in Senate yet. Ertz is old as hell, and how much longer can we depend on Ertz making it through a full season? Right. So it's like, do you even want to put tight end on the list? It feels like easily you can say edge, running back,
cornerbacks on there for sure.
Yeah, edge, run. So if we pick up a corner on day 1 of free agency, that's off the list. But corner should be up there too. But I'm gonna go edge, running back. I want to say off edge, running back, defensive tackle. For me,
those are the 3.
That's my 3.
What about you? 3. What about you, Rico?
Yeah, I'm a definitely edge and running back off rip. That's my automatic 2.
Running back might be number 1 for me.
Yeah, like
well, I already know how you feel about
it's bad. And then just the way the draft falls, like I want to lean towards offensive line, but if we're not taking a tackle in the 1st round, I don't want one. I'm not expecting him to start immediately. We have Samuel Cosme hurt. I'm hoping we address that in free agency as well before we get to the draft. So going into the draft, edge rusher, running back, especially with the way that the draft will fall, or all of these edge rushers, somebody's going to be there. There's going to be a talent that has no business being there as an edge rusher at 29. And then same thing with running back. They'll probably be like one of the really good ones still available with our 2nd round pick tackle and one of our big needs, but I don't think it's a realistic get in the draft. So my 3rd one would probably be tight end, because I think that one of those this is a pretty good tight end class as well. So it's kind of, I'm basing my idea of our biggest needs off of like what are our best fits and where we can get them in the draft, like one of the first 3 rounds. I'm going to go edge, running back, and tight end. Especially, again, assuming we got corner covered in free agency, like a Ward or Reed, preferably a Ward.
One of the first things that they're going to do in free agency will be get a corner, because they're going to go quick.
Mooney, I feel like Mooney getting that ball off rip.
We're gonna go to free agency here in a bit. Ed,
and just 3. To add to that too, like I to add to the reason why I feel like that's like a super definitive is because again, listening to the 49ers reporters, I heard somebody say that like even being in California gives him PTSD with the death of his daughter and everything like that. So he wants to get as far away from that as possible. And then the familiarity with Adam Peters, as much as we want him, he probably wants us. It's just a match made in heaven. I feel like it's just as automatic as Christian Kirk.
Deebo bringing him with him, man.
I got something to add to that in a bit. I'm gonna get to Ed though. Give me your 3 biggest needs.
So if this is excluding cornerback, then you
don't have to exclude corner. You can still say corner if you want.
Corner is definitely number 1. With we don't even have a lot of guys under contract, so we got to get a corner. Defensive tackle, since Jonathan Allen's going to most likely be released, I don't think we're going to find a trade partner for him. And then of course Osa got signed, so now everybody thought Osa was coming to DC, but that's not going to happen. So yeah, defensive tackle's a need, edge is a need, and I'm gonna just throw a running back too. We gotta get a running back.
Well, you gave 4, Ed.
Yeah, so I know. I had to say
it's hard. It's hard.
Make a decision, Ed. Make a decision, Ed.
Between running back and edge.
Edge, yeah. You gotta pick one. You got corner, defensive tackle, edge, and running back.
I'm gonna go running back. We got. I can't see B-Rob as number 1 again. It just can't happen.
It's hilarious because like hear from other fan bases, they don't realize we need a running back. They be throwing B-Rob name like he liked that.
Yo, bro, when we signed Deebo, they had the picture of B-Rob with Terry.
I was just about to say that. When they do the graphic of the best players, like, oh, you can't stop this offense. B-Rob's in that graphic. I keep trying to tell y'all, man, it's a different level of respect out here for B-Rob, bro.
I think that boy is part of the nucleus going forward, and I think he is a part of what we do here. I just think we need something more.
Right. So the point I was trying to prove here, and you guys proved it beautifully, is Rico went with edge, running back, tight end. Rio went with running back, edge, defensive tackle. Ed went with cornerback, defensive tackle, running back. So 3 different lists, right? Some overlappage, but for the most part, 3 different lists, none of which included wide receiver. You see what I'm saying? So we keep saying and get a rookie wide receiver. When? when you getting a rookie wide receiver, right?
In the sixth.
Yeah, I'm about to say that sixth round
Hey,
they're looking.
Right. But even then you're like, that's nasty, right? Like this isn't a draft where you should be finding anything worth having in the sixth round. At that point, Luke better turn up, right?
Yeah, exactly. Luke, I mean, we did take him on night 2. Like him and Bennett, like there got to be conversations had once we get through camp this year. They better be in the mix.
Yeah,
they better.
That's
I think so.
For a roster spot to me, it depends. If they draft a rookie, then he's fighting for a roster spot for sure.
Mm-hmm. Somebody said to me, if Ben Sinnott can't give you what John Bates gave you, then what is he here for? And I agree with that.
That's my exact reason for just letting Bates go get his money.
It was you then. It was you who said that.
It was me.
Yeah.
Yep, there we go.
If that's the case, then you should be looking for another tight end at whether it's free agency, the draft. You should be looking for another. I said, just draft one in the 7th round. You got like 8 7th-round picks.
Mm-hmm.
Just draft a tight end in the 7th round. Like you shouldn't be tripping at tight end, and you still got Colson Yankoff. I didn't realize they had picked up the ex Buffalo quarterback and Jackson.
Yeah. Tyree Jackson.
Athletic freak.
Athletic freak.
Experiment.
I didn't realize he was on the roster right now. So it's some options at tight end. We'll see if they even decide to go outside the building to try to replace John Bates if they don't bring him back. So we talked about a number of different topics. I want to talk about the combine. Before we get to that, though, I want to talk about free agency because I think that kind of bleeds into the combine discussion because we all got to see some of these guys athletically test well that we thought could be in our range, and like a James Pierce Jr., like a Matthew Golden, or even to a lesser degree a Josh Connerly Jr. Right, like all these dudes kind of just tested their way out of 29. So I want to talk about the free agency expectation from you guys. What are you expecting this team to do? Because I've seen people all over the map as to what they expect from the Commanders. And I want to get a sense of what everybody on the panel feels like is about to take place over the next, we'll call it week or so. The first couple days, the league's New Year starts on Wednesday, technically, but the tampering period starts on Monday. And we'll know what they're up to by then. So roughly a week from now, what do you expect this team to have already brought in to help, build this roster up in year 2?
That's a good question.
I'm definitely like we've already discussed, corner off rip, Christian Kirk off rip. This one's like half hope, half expect, just off of the offensive line for agency class is ugly.
It's nasty. It's real nasty.
I can see Ronnie Stanley being a pretty good fit for us if they just off of the fact that, again, nothing against Brandon Coleman. My problem is starting Nick Allegretti at left guard. I think he's a great backup, a below average starter, and especially with Samuel Cosme hurt, we need as many talented bodies on the offensive line as possible. So Brandon Coleman's versatile enough; he could play one of those guard spots if you need him to. So I would go and get Ronnie Stanley as well. Even though I think this tackle market is going; these guys are going to get paid more than they're supposed to. So that's my one big worry there. But I definitely expect corner Christian Kirk. And then, like, if we don't bring back Jeremy Chin, which I'm really surprised that we haven't re-signed anybody. And I hope that we bring back Jeremy Chin. I think we will bring back Jeremy Chin. But if we don't, I'm definitely looking at a guy like a Talanoa Hufanga. It's going to be some type of safety, either bring back Jeremy Chin or sign Talanoa Hufanga.
Let me ask y'all this. I think you brought up a really good point, Rico. Damn, it was right on my brain and I forgot that quick.
Tackle.
Come back to it.
Yeah, tackle. That's what it was. Thank you for jogging my memory. So, to me, and I want to ask you guys this: is Brandon Coleman the key to this offensive line getting some sort of resolution? Because I feel like the reason I ask is because if he stays at left tackle, Do you envision them doing anything to this offensive line if he stays at left tackle? If he's the plan at left tackle, right? If they're saying, hey, give him a year to be fully healthy. He was dealing with the shoulder. He was dealing with the knee all year. He battled through injuries all year long. This is the first time he's really been able to stay at a position, stay stable, not have to move around, because in college he played guard, he played right tackle, he played left tackle. This is the first time, like, let's give him an opportunity to see if he can really do it. And if they do that, they leave him at left tackle. Do you really expect any upgrades?
No,
right?
Maybe they'll fiddle with the interior, but I don't see a major push for like a big name lineman.
No, not in free agency. Maybe like the draft, like somewhere second, third round, maybe sweet spot, but not in free agency at all. No.
Yeah, the only thing I was saying was because Sam Cosmi, I don't know when he's going to be back. I know you guys think he's going to be ready for week 1, but that was the only if Brandon Coleman stays a left tackle. Allegretti, they like him, so they're probably not going to move on from him. Tyler Biadasz is clearly starting, and then Andrew Wiley. I think if they were going to cut him, they probably would have cut him already for the cap casualty thing and save cap space. So, but I do think they need to look at right guard, because we'll see what happens with Sam Cosmi to start, if he's going to start day 1. That's like the only way I could see them bringing somebody.
And you can't assume he's going to be ready week 1. You have to be prepared. There has to be a contingency plan in place, assuming that he's not going to be ready for week 1. I still think he's going to be, but you have, and Michael Dieter can't be your option that you go to if he's not ready, right? He can't be back. My thing is, if you're going to go with Brandon Coleman as your left tackle, you then have to upgrade the depth on the offensive line.
Becton or Tevin Jenkins type beat for one of those interior spots.
Yeah, somebody that you don't have to pay. I think Becton's going to get paid some good money. Tevin Jenkins, I don't think he's going to get paid a ton of money though. So somebody, but he expects to start. Tevin Jenkins expects to go somewhere and start. You're probably looking at somebody who knows, hey, I'm a utility man. I can play all 3 interior positions. If you need me to start, I can, but that's not who they are at this point of their career. That's what you're probably looking at. But it's got to be better than Michael Dieter. We can't do that again, right? So that's my biggest thing is, to me, Coleman is the key to all of this. Because if, like Rico said, if you kick him inside, now you got to go get a tackle. But if you do that, you're going to fortify this offensive line. Because in my mind, Allegretti makes, like Rico said, an excellent backup, because he can play all 3 interior positions, and he's a good, like, he would be the equivalent of Wes Schweitzer, right?
Yep.
What he provided us those years he was here. But if you start Coleman at guard, you don't want to put him at right guard, because Cosmi's coming back at some point. You don't want to be yo-yoing him around. Just put him at left guard, right? Allegretti can move to right guard. So when Cosmi is ready to come back in, you just insert him in. Now you got your starting 5. So I think he's the key to the offensive line. That's why I asked you guys, do you think he's the key? So what do you think is going to be what do you think free agency looks like for the Commanders, Rio?
I think it's going to start off with a big corner signing. I think we're going to go get one of these guys. I think it's Ward. Obviously, there's favoritism there. I think we know that there's plenty of connections already, and we know that he's trying to get away from the West Coast after something tragic took place. I think Ward is the first thing you hear from this team. And it's going to be interesting if we haven't signed any of our own guys yet, because what if there's a world where they want to upgrade? Like, we want Nick Bolton. We love you, Bobby Wagner, but we want Nick Bolton at linebacker. What if they go upgrade? Like, what if they go younger and upgrade at linebacker?
I would love it.
Take a flyer on Dre Greenlaw.
Yeah, there we go. Another connection for 1 year. Prove it.
I think they believe in Jordan McGee, though. That's why I don't see them swinging for the fences like that.
Okay. John Conlon said it like multiple times too. They really do.
I think they got something.
What if they spend on like a free safety?
Yeah, I mean, with Javon Holland,
Andre Sisco, maybe less than Javon Holland.
Yeah, he will be. He will be.
He is a surefire center fielder, free safety. That's someone I got my eyes on. Free safety, I think that's a position not many people are talking about. I can see him added to the room, and that would not mean we didn't sign back Jeremy Chin. Interesting that we haven't heard anything about those negotiations, but this is the life we live now. Everything, we don't have leaky faucets.
We don't.
We don't have leaky faucets. Everything.
But they love Quan Martin too, though.
They do.
I can't see them signing.
I feel like there's a way that they could
put them all on the field at the same
with
time.
the way that Jeremy Chin plays football. He's not pegged as like just your strong safety extraordinaire. Right. You kind of move him out. You kind of backer him. But what if, like,
I know what you're saying though. I get it.
What if they took a gander at one of these Philadelphia defensive linemen, Josh Sweat or Milton Williams? Josh Sweat terrifies me. I don't know what it is about Josh Sweat. He gives me he's going to get a really high deal and he's never going to live up.
He's going to somebody's going to overpay for him. It won't be us. It'll be New England or somebody like that overpays for him.
Feeling.
And I'm good.
What kind of deal is Milton Williams seeking as a 28-year-old defensive tackle?
It's at minimum more than what Osa Digizua just got.
Oh yeah, that's too rich for my blood, especially with this defensive tackle class.
Yeah,
but it's so hard to determine what this team's gonna do because we only have 3 picks in the first 5 rounds.
Yeah,
because after that 3rd round pick, it's gonna be a whole lot of this until the end of the draft. We're gonna talk about we're gonna draft a kicker on day 3. We're gonna have stupid conversations because that's a long time to go without picking. And I don't think we're getting anything for Jonathan Allen, but I think safety is a sneaky pick. I think corner is the first thing we get, and I hope we don't overpay for a defensive lineman. I think a defensive lineman other than our guys are someone. I feel like we might be in the mix for Milton Williams. I don't know. I feel one of those Eagles guys, I can see us in the mix for him. I don't know if I exactly want that, but I can see that going there. And I think we're going to fill out the wide receiver room. We're going to sign a Kirk and maybe another body and bring one of our Jags back and call it a day.
You may be onto something with the defensive line because we just had this conversation and Rio, you had D tackle, Ed had D tackle on both of you had D tackle on your list. They got to do something. This is a deep defensive line draft class, and so do you want to spend money on something that you don't necessarily have to if you can just get one in the draft, right?
And it pisses me off too because we spent a 2nd round pick on a D tackle last year,
right? And look, he might still be good. Like we'll
like
see.
The one, like I want him to start. Like if he's not if we drafted then we're gonna have a lot of questions about last year's 2nd and 3rd round. If Sennett and Newton turn out to be just rotational guys and Luke, like we're gonna have to start having some questions about you. So glad you had Jaden and Mikey in that class.
Right.
And to y'all point too, with all of the factors that y'all are talking about, with us not having a pick for forever after our 3rd round pick. And we have so many needs we need to fill. It sounds like we're destined to trade back.
Oh, we have to.
That 1st round, that 29th pick, we're trading back.
That's the ideal situation. But this is the problem with this year's draft is the same dude you getting at 14 is the same dude you getting at 38. Literally. And so what is the urgency for me to trade back to the 1st round, right? It's got to be a player there that you're like, oh my God, what is he doing there? And if you feel that way, then do you want to trade the pick yourself?
Then you take them.
Right. You know who holds the card to this trade back for us? Shador Sanders. The league hates him as much as they're saying they hate him. Then maybe Shador or somebody's on the board and someone try to say, Lamar Jackson fell to 32.
That was different.
It was different. I know it was different.
That little 5th year, that 5th option right there.
Let's say a Shador or somebody.
Way he has the Raiders.
Jackson Dart or Shador sitting there and somebody want that 5th year.
It's Jackson Dart. That's the one that we got to hope through this process. He just rises up the board and he's wowing people.
And they hate Shador, Lou.
Not the Raiders. Remember, that's Tom Brady's boy.
Right? Until they draft Genty, and then we all like, well, what is happening? What is happening right now? Because they don't care about nothing but speed and skill players.
Hey, that's before they got Tom Brady, man. It's about to hit different now, right? But that's the wild. Like, we've seen the reports. I saw Josina Anderson having to try to get people to back off of him.
For the people she's cool with, she will give you a whole 8 tweet diatribe defending her clients and people she rock with.
She wrote a War and Peace essay on X. I don't know if I've ever seen that before. That joke was like 12 tweets long. Like, whoa, wait a minute.
Crazy.
I was like, I didn't know I was signing up for all of this.
We didn't need all that. Congratulations or congratulations or I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I saw you like, man, I ain't reading all that.
Congratulations or sorry.
Congratulations or I'm sorry. Hey, I like Shador, but Shador is arrogant. Like, what are we talking about? Like, that's a part of his appeal. His confidence. Yeah. That's him. He's Prom's son. The hell they think he's going to be humble?
Yeah. No. Right. Ed. I'm gonna add something. I'm gonna ask y'all, see how y'all feel about it. Y'all probably seen it too, but Ed, what do you think is gonna happen in free agency for the Commanders?
Yeah, I think Charvarius Ward and Christian Kirk are definitely the two easy ones, the two layups. After that, I think it's going to be a lot of re-signings, honestly. I do think Zach Ertz is going to be back. I think they should bring him back. I know he's not getting any younger, no Zach, but he was very productive. I mean, he was our second leading receiver last year, and he moves the chains. So you got to bring back him and Jaden have a great, they have great chemistry, a great connection. Bobby Wagner, I believe, is going to be back. I think they bring back Dante. I'm trying to think who else. I even think they bring back Noah Hyde too. I think they bring him back on the
he should be back.
There's a lot of guys that they just bring back. So I think Jeremy Chin. So I think a lot of that is going to have Marcus Mariota. There's just so many free agents that I think they're just a lot of, like, even Cornelius Lucas. I'm just looking at the list. Cornelius Lucas, I feel like they're going to bring him back. OZ might be like OZ may be like a day 5, day 6 bring back type of signing. Like, even some of the kickers, they're going to have to re-sign for competition. So I think majority of the stuff is going to be stuff like that. But if you're just looking from the outside guys, Charvarius, Christian, and then the defensive line, I do think they have interest in Josh Sweat, but I think they strike out on that. I think they're going to be in the room. And then Milton Williams, I do think that's a possibility there too. And then I think they bring in a tier 3 wide receiver. I really do think another Hollywood Brown connection with the Cardinals. I think that's another guy that they take a look at. And then a free agent running back, because I think they let McNichols walk. I think they let Chris Rodriguez walk too. So I do think they bring in a free agent running back on like day 3, day 4 free agency. So some of the second wave free agent signings after the big name guys like Ward and Christian Kirk, I think you see more like the second wave, third wave. I don't think we'd make any more big splashes other than those two guys. Like Khalil Mack is going back to the Chargers. Yeah. I think there's going to be a lot of guys that we thought the big name guys that are just going to end up going back
to the teams.
Chris Godwin, guys like that. So I don't think after the two big name guys that I named, like Christian Kirk and Ward, I think is going to be more low key kind of stuff.
I also wanted to add too. First of all, we need kicker. We cannot skip over that. We got to figure it out.
That's why you got all them. That's why you got all them late day 3 picks.
That last 7th round pick. Come on, Andres Borgales or one of them guys. Like, come on down. Every single 7th round mock I'm doing a kicker, spamming it on the last one.
And I also wanted to add too. We bring Noah Igbenogany back. Does Deebo just go back to 19 because he wants it, or does he just confiscate that number 1 from him?
I think
Deebo wearing number 1. I don't even think there needs to be conversation.
Well, so technically,
he wants to go to 19 because those were his best years, and I understand that too.
Yeah, that's why I asked.
Yeah,
that number 1 probably was bad luck for him.
1 is not available. 1 is available.
It is available because he's an unrestricted free agent.
He's not on the roster right now. So if he technically wanted 1, he could just get it. Like y'all said, he might want to go back to 19. We'll see what he decides to do. Have y'all read anything surrounding Charvarius Ward and his desire to be back home in Texas? Have y'all read that?
Well, I have not read that.
Okay, so I read an article from SI the other day, and they said that he, after the tragedy that happened with his daughter, wants to be
back home,
surrounded by family and be closer to home. Texas is home for him. So I'm like, now the Texans are good at corner, right? They're probably the best.
Phenomenal at corner.
Right. They don't need him.
Dallas.
That Dallas does.
And they might be letting Diggs go.
So I just wanted to let y'all know that he might not be a slam dunk. I still think he's the odds-on favorite to end up here, but my guy is Michael Jackson. That's the guy I've been on this entire time. I think he's ready to become a really good corner in this league, and they've shown the ability to go shopping at the Carolina Panther store and come away with some good stuff. And I think he's ready. He really got a lot of swag from J.C. Horn last year, and I think he's ready to ascend as a real legit corner in this league. That's the guy you wouldn't have to pay him a ton.
What's up with Samuel Jr.? Is he unrestricted free agent or is he
unrestricted? But I don't think he's what they're looking for because he's an undersized corner.
I like Carlton Davis if we had to pivot elsewhere.
Yeah, he's definitely but he's gonna go fast.
TJ Reed is a name to take a look at too. I know, he's 5'10", but
he's undersized.
Is he 5'10"? Ain't like 5'8.5"?
Yeah, he like 5'9".
He plays hard. He plays hard. He's hard over height.
Yeah, he's definitely a guy that I just don't think fit. They don't want another Mikey Samuel still out.
Yeah, it would be like a twin Mikey out there. I think they want a 6 foot long corner, you know. So
and that's why Michael Jackson makes sense for me. 6'1", 210, can run. I think he ran a 4.4 340. He can run. I just think he's ready, man. He looks like he's ready to become that guy. And that's what you're looking for in free agency. Somebody that it hasn't played their best football yet, going into the prime of their career, ready to take that next step. That's what you want to do. So I still think it's going to be Mooney Ward when it's all said and done, but I wouldn't be shocked if that whole situation, and look, I think he's open to going wherever, right? But he would prefer, the preference is closer to home. So
Trevon Diggs, if he gets released, anyone?
Nah, I'm good on him.
I'm cool. I'm cool on him.
His injury is supposed to linger into the season, I think.
Yeah, I'm cool on him.
I'm ice cold on him.
I would sign the other Diggs over him, and I don't want either of them, to be perfectly honest.
I'm good on both of them dudes. All right, so now we can transition into the combine. And I don't know how much of it you guys watched. Man, the combine is bad. Man, it's a bad watch. But when you are fiends like us,
when you're thirsting, it's
man,
like, all
right, man. Let me sit down and watch. Let me stop playing and go ahead and watch this thing. So I don't know what your intent was. We talked about it at the end of last episode, what the kind of the intent, what we were looking for. But ultimately, I know what I was looking for. I was like, man, I wanted to see if we could get somebody to just kind of not go in there and stink it up, but just not blow it up. And so there would be options at 29 for us. That didn't happen. The only guy that went out there and just was kind of mid was Luther Burden III, which I'm like, we got the.
He still looked pretty. Yeah, he looked good. He had a great gauntlet drill, and he didn't kill it on the 40, but he looked.
I mean, even the gauntlet didn't look like he was running really fast. He looked like he was kind of just running like mid speed. Just let me make sure I catch the ball. That's what.
Let me run in a straight line and catch the ball.
We got the real thing, right? Everybody says he's like, a smaller version of Deebo Samuel.
Yep.
But we got the real thing, so we don't need him now.
Yep, we got Luther Burden at home.
right. You don't need to go out. You got him at home, right?
You got him at home.
James Pierce no longer
God.
Right. He just absolutely murdered.
Hey, them character concerns, maybe.
I was just about to say the fact that he had to wear a sweater because he forgot his shirt on the most important day of his life.
Good point.
Like, I don't know. Some teams might take him off the board. That's
he smoked that 40 with a hoodie on.
Bro.
Yeah.
You ain't lying, Rico. Like, some teams are like, bro, you weren't aware, you weren't responsible enough to bring your shirt with you.
Bring his knucklehead ass over here, man. Quinn, get him right.
Please.
Quinn and Witters, they'll get him right, bro.
Man, I'm gonna tell you right now, man. NFL teams don't give a damn if you can rush the quarterback.
He's going top 10. That boy going top 10.
Did y'all say last stream? Unless you ain't hitting women,
right? Exactly. We already talked about this. As long as you ain't put your hand on a female and you can rush the quarterback, you can play a premium position. Oh yeah. He's getting drafted in the top 15.
Bring his ass.
Top half of the draft, first round. I was hoping that, one of these running backs. Wrong answer.
They all smoked it. Yeah, they all smoked it.
He can't. I don't think he's a natural catcher of the football. Nobody cares, right? He is everything we thought he was going to be, and then he ran a very good time for his size and
4.8. He's moving, man.
I'm like, oh my God, he's not going to be there. So that whole Who was the one running back you said, oh my God, that's the guy we need to add?
Quinshon Judkins.
I love Judkins. I love Judkins.
Dog, that looks like an NFL running back. He ran faster than everybody thought he was going to run.
I told people he was going to run fast. And, you know, there was supposed to be this big discrepancy between he and Travion Henderson, right? Because Henderson's supposed to be the fast one. And it was only 0.05 of a second, right? Like he was 4.3.
And he had a 1.51 yards.
It was crazy, bro. I like, and remember, Quinshon is 220, I think, like 250.
Yeah, he's like 222, 223.
And Travion's 205. Like there's a big difference between those two.
20 pounds more, and he's running like him. Yeah.
How did y'all feel about Tootin?
Oh, he could fly. He could fly. I've watched a lot of Virginia Tech too. He could fly. He got that Antonio Gibson fumble thing with him, though. Like he'd be fumbling. He puts the ball on the ground, but God, he lit up the combine.
Yeah, he did. Jumped, ran fast, all of that stuff. Yeah. We coming. This was my biggest takeaway.
Leaving with something.
We getting a running back. We getting a running back. We getting a running back.
You know what I hated? I hated that Scatterboo didn't run the 40.
Oh, we already knew. You see, he jumped like 30. You see, he jumped like 39 inches on the vert or whatever.
Jumped like Braun.
Hoyle. Yeah, the Billy Hoyle joint.
Yeah,
his agent said, "Yeah, let's go ahead and call it a day after the vert."
Yeah, of course.
Good.
Of course, you ain't doing. You're not running because we already know that.
White men can jump.
Yeah,
you know we can't run fast.
We can't run. We can't run.
He better run a 4.79.
Hey, I just like, look, man, we about to get us one of these running backs.
Right. And, but he showed out. He showed.
Yeah,
up.
he did.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I said we finna get us a running back though. It's too many of these dudes.
RJ
man.
Harvey was moving. RJ Harvey, they made the cleanest edit I've ever seen. The UCF program with RJ Harvey. It was like a 40 that transitioned into a long touchdown that he ran this year. RJ Harvey.
That's hard.
Yeah,
that's hard.
I gotta send it to y'all. The chat is clean.
Yeah. I want to see that.
I was gonna say, I feel like we definitely running back, especially to your point, Lou, how well they tested. I think at the latest second round, I think one of those an elite defensive player that has no business making it to us in the first round will make it to us. I mean, I've been big on Walton Olin since he was coming out of high school.
Ain't no way, Rico.
Next Jalen Carter. I'm just saying, there's a list of guys between him, James Pierce, Jalen Walker's hurt. You know what I'm saying? Michael Williams was not productive, even though he said it was because he was hurt all year as well. Somebody's gonna fall to us that has no business. If everything went smoothly for them the previous season, health, production, had no business making it to us, but for whatever reason, somebody's making it to us.
Y'all think Nick Imawari? They think Nick Imawari might fall to 20?
He another dude that ran himself into the top.
Man, the best combine
literally,
ever.
Man.
20. He's the top 20 pick now. There's no way he makes it to
us. Boy, he had one of the best combines.
Yeah, Shamar.
That's the kind of guy that'll fall to us that you don't want. Yeah, that you like. I'm good.
All athleticism, no production yet, but he's a projection player, 100% projection player. He is the Anthony Richardson of edge rushers.
Those are the type of guys they scared the living daylights out of me. Those no production, all projection type guys. That's that old adage, son, your potential is going to get me fired. He's one of those guys.
Mm-hmm. Like if you couldn't do it in college, why would you be able to do it at the NFL? If you got a lot of pressures in college, but couldn't turn it into sacks, why would you be able to do that at the NFL level?
Only one guy that I can recall that was like that turned out to be actually really good, and that was Rashawn Gary out of Michigan. Other than him, a lot of those non-productive, super talented dudes end up like Tack McKinley at the NFL level, and that scares me.
I keep seeing in mock drafts people give us like Nick Scorton, and I'm like,
I'm good.
No thanks.
You know who he reminds me of? Remember the Alabama edge rusher we took in the second round?
Ryan Anderson?
Yes, he reminds me of Ryan Anderson.
Oh my God, I want no parts. I want no parts.
Don't do me like that. No. They at one point they had us taking Jahad Campbell. I'm like, he's not going to be there.
I like Jahad Campbell.
He's not going to be there.
Yeah, he's a dog. He's
Yeah,
probably
he's
top
a
20.
dog. He's
so
not going to
good.
be there. He killed the combine too. Like
my
dude that I saw had a chance like to be mocked. They murdered the draft.
Draft the trade back now.
Yeah, Ty Felton from Maryland, he balled out too.
He looked really good, man.
Yeah.
I was super impressed with Ty Felton, man.
Height, weight, speed guy, man.
I was like, whoa, that was impressive. It's going to be really interesting to see if we can get out of the first round.
Y'all saw Armand Mimbo?
Yeah, he looked. I mean, he
God.
What? I was like, wait a minute.
You're not supposed to be able to fly like that at that size, man.
That size, bro. Not at 330, man. Like that dude was flying, and he looked really like another dude that was running was Irsay, right?
Ariante Ursary, yeah.
I was like, wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he might be there at 29. He might be there at 29.
He could be, but this is a weak offensive tackle draft.
If we draft Ursary, where we putting guys?
Well, he strikes me. To me, he. I guess you would start him out at left tackle, but I think he's more of an NFL right tackle, if you ask me. But you'd start him out at left tackle if you drafted him, and maybe kick Coleman over to right tackle and see if he can. Because somebody brought it up, like we just assume Coleman goes straight to guard if he's not left tackle. He could also go to right tackle, right? Yeah. They could also try him over there, right? We don't. Yeah,
kick Wiley in the guard, man.
Yeah, or kick Wiley ass off the roster. Give me that $7 million.
You right.
$7 million and bring back Cole Luke and call it a day, right? So, it'll be like there's no guarantee that Brandon Coleman just goes automatically inside if you were to do something like that. But 29 is really. It went from man, this sucks waiting this long to man, this shit is intriguing. Like. What's going to be left? Can we get out? And if it is something elite there, because the assumption is it's at least 4 teams that's probably going to take a running back in the first round. Like, there's no way Amari and Hampton makes it to 29.
Oh,
because
man.
Don't say 4, though. Don't say 4. Don't say Henderson and Judkins going in the first, bro.
Don't do that to me.
I'm just telling you that there's no way Amari and Hampton makes it to us.
Kuiper got him at 12.
Bro, I'm just telling you, it's no way. Like after Genty, Omarion is gonna go. You're talking about, and I don't even know what the top. You already brought up the Raiders, Rio, as a possibility as a team that could take them. Genty, I'm talking of, but once he comes off the board, there's one of 2 things that can happen in the first round, and that's everybody goes, oh, okay, we cool on running back. It's so many of them, and then you just wait till somebody else.
Starts the next run.
Right. Pulls that Band-Aid off. And once that first team grabs, Amari and Hampton or Caleb Johnson or whoever they deem to be the next best back, then you're like, all right, well, let me go get mine then. Right. And then that run happens. But if everybody unanimously says, oh, we'll just wait, then you could end up in a situation where, because the Steelers they're not going to follow the rules. Right. They're taking a running back in the first round. I think the Chargers, their offense is predicated on being able to run the football. There's no way the Chargers are leaving the first round without an elite back. There's no way the Steelers are leaving the first round because they're not bringing back Najee Harris. There's no way they're leaving the first round without getting a running back. So I just see too many teams. The Vikings aren't re-signing Aaron Jones. They don't have a running back. So in my mind,
about the Cowboys too?
It's so many teams that could say, you know what, I'm taking a running back. So. There's no way in my mind that you're going to get, which is why I keep saying, I don't know if we draft, because keep in mind, our second round pick is 61. Like
one of the last couple.
You're not even close. Like you're not getting Quinshawn Judkins at 61. If you don't take him at 29, you're not getting him. This is the point that either we got to trade back out of 29 or you're stuck. You know what I'm saying?
You might be forced to take like a tight end that falls or one of these running backs at 29 because like what are we just gonna force pick an edge here that we don't like that much?
That's the beauty's in the eye of the beholder, and that's whatever they deem to be the best value at that pick. It's gonna be interesting to see what they decide to do because man, it could be really dark at 29. Like we could get there. And we could be itching for a trade back, but I don't see anybody wanting to come up.
I'll get to 29 and start talking
that.
about. Do we take Jack Sawyer here?
That is an absolute no, right? I don't even want Jack Sawyer at 61.
No.
Hey, absolutely
I'm not.
not.
But to go back to some elite combine standouts, you know what I'm saying? I'm a K for one of my Georgia guys real quick. Hey, Tate Ratledge, back to your offensive line situation.
God.
Hey, that mullet was flying, bro.
He made himself some money.
Him and the center, your center.
Yeah, Jared Wilson. Yeah,
They blew it up, bro.
I mean, going back to your point, if you want to keep Brandon Coleman at tackle, you want to just upgrade it, Nick Allegretti, and then, or Tate Ratledge can start at right guard until Cosme's back, and then you can have Nick Allegretti going back to the bench. Tate Ratledge moves to left guard. I think that could be a thing. I mean, because people forget, of course I'm a Georgia Bulldog fan, so I've been paying attention to him since high school and everything. But like even going into college football, he was like one of the top 10 highest rated players in the entire game. He just kind of had like an off season. He was hurt a little bit, and I feel like that's the reason why he had an off season. And it seems like everybody kind of forgot about him, but the talent is there. Like he has one of those ridiculous Quentin Nelson level ceilings of like athleticism. So if he would have slide to us, I'd be fine with it, even though I prefer like an elite edge rusher or a running back. But yeah, I think that would be good too.
There's going to be some options. We may not like them, we may not love them, but there will be some options, and it's going to be interesting to see what they do. I think the consensus is everybody wants to trade back and pick up an additional pick somewhere in the mid rounds, right?
Yep.
Get that second round, because so what we've heard from everyone, and I think most of us having watched the combine probably concur with this assessment that the value in this draft is in day 2.
Yep, that's the sweet spot.
Isn't it crazy? Like last year we had all those day 2 picks, and the value in this draft is in. Do you know what we could do this year
with that type of? Woo, my God!
So it's going to be interesting to see if he can somehow work some. I said he's a magician if he can get a 4 for Jonathan Allen. At this point, I just 6 or 7, just get something for us.
Give us a damn pick swap or something, man.
Like, something. I'm like, yo, hey, can we package Jonathan Allen in a 6 for a 4?
You're doing the John Ridgeway.
Like, can we a 6 and a 7 and Jonathan Allen for a 4? Like, can we find a way to package some shit together?
I want a 4th round pick bad as hell.
Oh, right bad, bro.
So use Jonathan Allen to trade up. I can see it.
I'm like trying to use him as a bargaining chip, bro.
And to your point, Lou, about like this draft, I don't think people have noticed, but this is the first time since the merger that every NFL team still holds his 1st round pick right now. Like it's just no reason to be going around, and it's just a weird draft. And you even see people getting traded right now for 2026 picks right now.
Yeah,
like that should tell you everything you need to know about this 2025 draft.
Yeah. I mean, we saw some incredible stuff taking place. You're like, wait, did they just say 2026? I'm like,
literally.
Oh, okay. Interesting. That's what leads me to believe that you're not going to see anybody wanting to come back into the 1st round,
fellas.
What happened?
Joey Bosa.
Joey Bosa has just been released. What y'all think?
Oh, here we go.
How we feeling?
Lord have mercy on our souls. Look, I'm finna get 18 ats. Hey, Louie Tee, what you think? Joey Bosa.
I thought you were going to say Christian Kirk got signed or something.
I did too. That's what I thought we was going. I got excited. Like, wait a minute, my heart.
It's another name though. It's another name to talk about. Everybody messages, DMs, and comments every name that comes available and wants to know what we have to say about it.
Of course.
Another should we sign Joey Bosa?
Yeah,
Joey Bosa. My main problem with this is that it sounds like it's even more likely they bring back Khalil Mack, who I really want. So I'm sick because now they're definitely going to bring back Khalil Mack.
Yeah, Bosa's washed, and
he hasn't had a good season in a minute.
He needs to. He just needs to retire. Is really what he needs to do.
It's crazy because he's not even 30.
He can't stay healthy, bro.
Yeah, he's hurt all the time.
Any Chargers fan.
That is crazy. That's insane. Yeah, he's like 29 right now. He's gonna be 30, but that is crazy.
People are gonna say, hey, but just like Debo ain't been good since 2021.
They wild. 2021,
bro. Joey Bosa has not had a good season since around 2020, 2021.
I'd challenge you to see if he's played double-digit games in any season since.
Just to let you know, last year he played 457 snaps, and it just didn't matter. It didn't feel like he was out there at all.
Always hurt though, so even when he was
always
playing,
banged up.
he won't healthy. Like
Yeah,
Chargers fans were over him last year. I know a couple Chargers fans, and they was like, "Bro, just retire already."
Oh yeah. Games played 14, 9, 6.
Yeah.
Now 9, 5, 16, 12, 16, 7, 16. Yep. But he had a 9 game. He only played 15 games in 2022 and 2023. So
yeah, he's a guy that I'm over him. You know, he's his best football is behind him in the rearview mirror. Yeah. I'm not interested at all.
You'd rather have Dante Fowler at this point than Joey Bosa.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna run into the same issues you ran into with Dante Fowler last year, which is not being able to set a physical edge. You're gonna have to find somebody to do that. You know, and you know what I also thought about, like, they did draft Javonte John Baptiste last year. Like, what if they just say, "Hey, he's starting this year"? Would y'all be okay with that?
Nah, you need better than that.
You need better than that, man.
That was like when I asked y'all that day. That's like when I was asking y'all that day if they said, "Prove it to me," and said McGee's gonna start and we're moving on from Bobby Wagner. Like, I gotta see, man.
I would more be okay with that than Javonte John Baptiste, but you know, we all would like to see some sort of proof that you can do it. But Javonte just doesn't feel like he feels like a rotational depth guy, right? Doesn't feel like a starting edge. So they're gonna have to figure something out. That's one of the biggest enigmas on the roster right now, is because I don't think, like, every other position to me feels like you can find a solution. Like, there's a path to a solution that gets you excited or you're okay with going into 2025. I'm scratching my head and saying, bro, is there a solution to fix edge rusher by the time we get to week 1 in 2025? Because there's nothing out there. Like, last year was the perfect year to need an edge rusher. There was so many options available. Mm-hmm. I mean, Andrew Van Ginkel had, what, 3 interceptions, 2 pick sixes.
No, he's like a pick six machine.
12 sacks or whatever. Jonathan Gennard and Danielle Hunter switched teams. It's almost like they got traded for each other, and both had double-digit sacks. Like, there were so many options available last year, and we're just sitting here like, damn, we want 80-year-old Khalil Mack to be available. Like, that's the type of time we on right now. Somebody's going to overpay for Josh Sweat. I don't want it to be us, right?
Please, no. I'll prefer Riddick over Josh Sweat, ain't gonna lie.
And that's another option, but he was so bad last year. We know why, but can he get back to what he was before last year's fiasco is the question. And how much does he want to be able to prove? Because his whole point of holding out was to get a long-term deal. You're not getting it now. Now you're getting a 1-year prove-it deal. So is he willing to take that 1-year prove-it deal?
And he missed out on the Super Bowl.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? And then if you draft an edge rusher, is that guy willing? Is that guy ready to come in and start? Probably not.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So I'm that's the one position I'm struggling with right now.
It's tricky. I don't want no Bryce Huffs.
You know? Oh, you know who? I'm gonna throw this name out there. Chauncey Golston is a former Cowboy. Free agent. I think he's 27 years old. Not going to cost you a ton of money. I could see them going in that direction if they like him. If they're, because they're familiar with him from their time in Dallas. He had a career high 6 sacks last year. I think he was the one that picked the damn pass off against us.
Screen pass.
If I'm not, that screen pass exactly against us the first time. If I'm not mistaken, it was him who picked the pass off. So I'm just telling you, that's just a guy. I know he can set a physical edge. I don't know if he's going to get pressure on the quarterback or not, but I know he can set a physical edge. He'll be an upgrade.
We need that. Yeah. We need that so bad.
Anybody who's with Dallas, you got to consider him. I know even D-Law, you got to consider him too.
Azeez Ojulari, anybody?
He's Dante Fowler Jr. without the pressure. right? Without
He's
the
just Dante
production
Fowler
numbers.
from Georgia, so that's the only reason I kind of want him. That's all. That's it for me.
Yeah, he's shown flashes, but again, he's undersized. So that's the only position that I'm really truly worried about. That, and then what's going to happen to the offensive line? And I think Brandon Coleman holds the key to that. So, all right, let's get to the comment section.
Let's get it, man.
All right, Twin D, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, my guy, Twin D. Thank you for the $20 dono, man. Who writes, "Raise hail, Kings, man. We really appreciate you, Twin D." Says, "My brother is a hardcore 49ers fan who's not happy with losing Deebo. He mentioned that one attribute of Deebo we might benefit from is his rarely discussed ability to return kicks. Thoughts?" And I brought that up. Like, a lot of people don't talk about his ability to return kicks, but that is something that he can also do. But to Rio's point, I'm not sure that because of his value as an offensive player, I don't know if they're going to ask him to do that at this juncture of his career.
Especially after what happened to Eckler last year, where he was so important for us on offense. And he was great at returning, but it just put him at risk.
I mean, the man was an all-pro as a returner last year.
All-pro.
But like you said, I mean, his value on offense was so great, and we missed him dearly when he was out of the lineup. And I don't think it was an accident that, he got hurt in the Dallas game, right? The first Dallas game, right?
Yeah.
That's when he got knocked out cold.
He got his first injury he got last year was versus the Bengals, right?
The Bengals, right?
Yeah, the Bengals.
He missed the Cardinals game, and he came back after that. But the one that put him out for like
the home Cowboys game,
the first one,
like the last play of the game type thing.
Yeah, it was the kickoff. Yeah, it was nasty too. And I think because I was gonna say that the offensive downturn coincided with him being out, but it didn't. It really didn't. He was the only good player in that first Eagles game. No offense. He was the only good player.
Literally.
Literally. What I wrote about Deebo with the kick returns, I mean, they may try him out there. He has 17 returns. I'm just looking at the numbers. His longest return was for 60 yards, which is pretty good.
Yep.
But I'm with you guys. They probably will try to preserve him for because the games the games that he missed last year, but he did a good job returning kicks to Twin D's point. So it's something that they may try him out there a couple times. Not a lot though. I know they like Luke back there too.
I was just about to say Luke needs something to do. Luke needs something to do. That could be his home right there.
Something to do is crazy.
Right.
You make yourself a habitat back there.
Yeah, the other guy on the other side was Jeremy McNichols, who I don't see them resigning. So that is something that they're gonna have to fill in.
He lost me when he fumbled in the NFC Championship.
I mean, he lost a lot of people. They went from Jeremy McNichols, man, he could come back. I remember so many people was like, "Yo, he could come back next year." Man fumbled in the NFC Championship game. I have never seen a fan base turn on a player so quick. After McNichols, I mean, the minute that man fumbled, get him. What is he even doing back there? I'm like, bro, he been back there for the last 8 weeks.
So people start questioning the coaching staff. Right. Like, why you doing there to catch time?
Man, bro, I watched the NFC Championship game again on Sunday. Oh, that was the other day, a few days ago, and I've never seen so much go wrong in like a little bit of time. Bro, the last 2 minutes in the NFC Championship first half was a disaster. Bro, we could have been up at halftime. Bro. We really could have been up at halftime, and we ended up down 2 possessions. What the hell, man?
And you know what's crazy is when you go back and watch that game, because so many people default is the final score, right?
Yeah.
But when you go back and watch that game, Jaden played really well.
He did.
And really what's crazy? Eagles fans will tell you, "Oh, he was mid. There were some passes that were low, like the Eckler fumble pass. That was a low pass, right? There was a play early in the game where I want to say it was the first third down in the game where OZ had to go down, go get the ball, but the defender was far off enough where he could get up.
Other than that, he was almost perfect.
But those were plays where he was under duress. He couldn't step into those throws. And that's why those throws ended up the way that they did. But to even be in the position that we were in, like you said, like the Mikey call, which I thought it was a penalty, but when you slow-mo it, he wasn't even out of bounds yet, right? That was the field goal they were going to kick.
Yep.
They were going to kick a field goal, Then that penalty happens. They get the touchdown, and you're still only down 8.
Mm-hmm.
And then he fumbles the ball. And you're like, golly.
It's just crazy because watching it again, watching that last 2 minutes of the first half, there's no way you're telling me that someone's scoring 55 points in that game. There's no way you're not telling me this is going down to the wire. Because we had so many chances. 4th and 5 down 2 at the 50. You get a stop on 4th and 5. We're driving to end the half.
What the hell is Marshawn Lattimore? Like, his whole head ducked. Like, somebody said that there was an angle that showed he got his face mask grabbed or something. It looked like he had to have, because, and I don't know that that's true.
He got tore up off the ball.
He did, but his whole head ducked there. Like, what are you doing, bro? That's not even a natural movement. Even if you get your ass whooped at the line of scrimmage, I've never seen a guy head go down like that.
That and the fumble. Yep, that and the fumble and the Mikey penalty. Like, I was like, oh my God, I've never seen us do this much dumb shit this year in like one.
I asked y'all after that game, I said, can y'all recall a late hit out of bounds by this team all season?
No, like none of us so in our feelings, and it went from we could take the lead going into half to, oh my God, we're down 27-15 at halftime. Like,
and that Jaden drive before halftime was remarkable.
39 seconds, no timeouts, and he got us.
Jesus, man, that dude is something else, man. Jeff's opinion. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, man. Big shout out to Jeff. Really appreciate you. Patrick Ode A. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. POA writes, what up, Kings? What's going on? Says 3 questions. 1, who is each of your ideal running back, cornerback, and edges and wide receivers in the draft? 2, breakout player for next season. 3, which positions would you be okay with not addressing this offseason? That last one is really, I think, a big one because you can't fix everything in one offseason. We talked about that already. And there's going to be 1 or 2 positions, probably one. And that's why I asked y'all about the 3 positions you would, put as your most important heading into the draft, because something's not getting drafted. At least not in an important round, right? I mean, you get a 6th round wide receiver, who cares, right? I mean, maybe he turns out to be good, but you're not putting any pressure on a 6th round pick, neither of a 7th rounder. So again, you're probably going to walk away saying, damn, we didn't do enough somewhere, right? Ideal running back, cornerback, edge rusher, wide receiver in the draft. That's a lot. Just pick one, guys. Pick one ideal player at one of those positions. If you don't have one for each of them, just pick one.
Well, I'll definitely say for running back, just off of value, Travion Henderson, where you may be able to get him if you trade back. Edge rusher, if he falls to us, Michael Williams. I still feel like he's a top 5 talent. His just, things went a little crazy. If he, for some reason, it makes it that far, that's my guy there. And then cornerback and wide receiver, I don't really have one for those 2 that much.
Even Hairston, who you were like, oh, we can mock Hairston, and he just goes and blazes a 4.29, and you're like, okay, he's not going to be there either, more likely than not, right? So, I mean, corner's an interesting one because there's a kid out of Iowa State. He's huge. He's like 6'3", $195. He's super raw, right?
Jalen Noel.
I think his name is Jalen something, right? Matter of fact, I got my notes in front of me.
Right? Yeah.
Jalen Noel, I think is his name.
I'm gonna tell you what his name is.
Yeah, we met with Jalen Noel, if that's who you're talking about too.
I mean, he's literally the prototypical Dan Quinn corner. Like, he's huge. And you remember they did the same thing with Trayvon Diggs, right? Former wide receiver, turn corner. I mean, obviously he had already played corner a year or 2 at. His name is Darian Porter, the guy I'm talking about.
Oh, Darian Porter. Yeah, they were saying in the chat.
Oh, okay.
In the chat. Okay, Darian
Shouts
Porter.
out to the chat.
6'3", 195, ran a 4.3 40 flat, 4.3 flat.
Yeah.
He's interesting. Former wide receiver, a guy that is extremely raw, and he's not going to be ready to help you year 1. But that's why you draft him, right? And that's why you go out and get the veteran corner, and you got your 2 veterans who start. You got Mikey as your 3rd corner, and you got Noah Igbenogany if anything happens to anybody else. So he shouldn't have to see the field. Theoretically, you can develop him. I know y'all ain't trying to hear that with a second, because I think you're gonna have to draft this kid in a second.
I need some instant impact players, man. I need some dudes who's ready to strap that chin strap up immediately.
And that's the thing that you gotta guard against, is you gotta find a way to get the best value out of your picks. And it may not be a dude like, for instance, you may draft a tackle this year that's not ready to help you right now. But remember, Andrew Wiley's not going to be here next year. Whether he's here this year or not, he won't be here next year. We know that for a fact. This is the final year of Andrew Wiley's deal. And here's the thing that the Eagles do, and I know we're not the Eagles, but they draft a guy like Cam Jerkins was sitting on the bench for 2 years.
Yep.
They didn't know when, and if your boy didn't retire, he still would have been sitting. Yeah, I mean, I think they were playing him at guard, right? I think they had ultimately played him at guard. But the first 2 years, he wasn't playing anywhere. He was just sitting on the bench. And then they put him in at guard, and then your boy finally retired, and they moved him over to center. So I think the first year, that's the kind of, like, they drafted your boy in the 7th round, the tackle. Mailata. He didn't play that first year.
A rugby player.
Right. They developed him. They sent him to, what's the name of their O-line coach? Jeff Stoutland. They sent him to Stoutland U, right? Mm-hmm. He didn't play the first year, and then the next year they put him in there, and look what happened. Like, sometimes you got to take a guy and be willing to develop him, knowing you're not going to get nothing out of him. Now, 7th round is different than a 2nd round, which they spent the 2nd round pick on Cam Jerkins.
Yep.
I'm just saying, like, I don't want to start another rookie tackle. I don't want to start a rookie tackle again. So if they took a rookie tackle in the 2nd round and said, we're not playing him this year, but he'll be ready next year to step in at right tackle, I'd be okay with that. But I get what you're saying. You want a guy that, because the 2nd round pick is supposed to be an instant day one impact. I mean, to me, your first 2 days should be all guys that can come in and help. 1st, 2nd, and 3rd round.
Yeah.
That's how I view that, but I get it. Rico, you gave a number of guys. Ed, Rio, y'all got anybody that stands out that you think are perfect fits at those positions?
For corner, Azariah Thomas out of Florida State, I feel like he's a perfect Dan Quinn type cornerback. Good size, speed, good length, and I feel like I like him at cover. I like him at corner. For running back, you already know who I like. We don't even got to talk about Amari and Hampton. For edge, I like a couple guys, man. I feel like Kyle Kennard could be DeMarcus Lawrence. He could be DeMarcus Lawrence in the NFL. Not a speed demon. You don't need to run a 4.4 to get to the quarterback. He had a really good 10-yard split, and I like him at edge. And for wide receiver, for these guys, there's all kinds of guys that fit what we do here. If you want a guy with size, there's a few of those. I would love to have Jaden Higgins here. Jaden Higgins is a good balance. Everybody loves Savion Williams. I'm cool on that. I'm cool on experimental type. If you're gonna go get me a big receiver, give me a big receiver that can run a little bit.
Yeah, for me, a wide receiver, I like Trey Harris.
Ooh.
He's a big body. He breaks a lot of tackles. He gives you a lot of yak. Running backs, yeah, we're on the same wave. I mean, the Ohio State guys, Judkins, Travion, Omarion Hampton, they're probably not a possibility. Corner, I know there's a lot of injuries, like Revel. I do like him, even though he's come off an injury, and then I do like Harrison too. So those are the guys at the draft that I'm looking at. Edge we're kind of in a weird position. Like Mike Green, I like him a lot, but he probably won't be there at 29. So we're just in a weird spot having a later pick. So those are the guys in the draft. I guess I'll start with the breakout player and start that going. It's kind of tough, man. Like with Luke, I just think he's in an odd spot because we're going to add so many guys to the team at the wide receiver spot. So you want to say Luke, but it's just like a numbers game there because we already added Deebo. We're going to add Christian Kirk most likely. So there's going to be 3 or 4 guys who are going to be ahead of him. And then you want to say Ben Sinnott, but it's like they're probably going to bring back Zach Ertz. So how many touches is he going to get? So I would say Johnny Newton because I do think he's going to start with Jonathan Allen leaving. And I'm not going to say Mikey because I think Mikey already, but Mikey had a heck of a season. So if I want to say
he's broke out already.
He's already broke out.
Yeah. Thanks.
So it's like, I mean, Jordan McGee, you could say him too, but I'm going to go with Johnny Newton for the breakout guy.
To go back to the first one, How do y'all feel about Donovan as a Rico?
Oh my God, he's a dog. That's one that if he's there at 28,
what about 29? I was gonna say, what about 29?
At 29, yeah. You could sell me on as a Riku. Is that how you pronounce it?
Something like that. Yeah, I'm gonna get his name right eventually.
Hey, he's a dog. And he has amazing length. His length is crazy. And pause.
Did you see? Did you see? Did you see? Wait, yeah, that was pretty bad right there. That was that's something I would do. I'm disappointed in you, Rio. But did you see his 3-cone?
Oh, dog, it was freaky.
It was dumb. You know, dudes don't even run it anymore because
he has production. He has production to go with it.
Yep.
Guys don't run the 3-cone that are edge rushers because that to me is the most telling number as to what kind of rusher you're going to be at the NFL level. They know that. Agents know that. They advise their clients not to do the 3-cone. Like, I wonder, they still would have taken Chase Young. Chase Young, I know, had a stinking 3-cone. He would have had a funky 3-cone just by looking at the way he moves. His 3-cone would have been awful, right? It would have probably scared some teams. That's why they don't do it anymore. If you're great at it, why not, right? He ran his, it was a sub-7. It was a 6.94, I believe. Like anything sub-7.3 is solid. Anything sub-7.1 is really good. Anything sub-7, you're freaky. Like guys like Boza and Von Miller are like in the 6.6s, you know, the crazy numbers, right? 6.7s. But to be sub-7,
he had a 6.94.
Yeah, he's 6.94. Yep. Yeah, that tells you could turn the corner. So that's another guy.
Donovan only thing is he's light, so in the run game it might get a little.
Yeah.
He barely 250. Yeah,
he 248, but I always like to round up when you're that close. But yeah, he ain't even 250 yet. So that's the only thing you worry about. Breakout player for next year. You know what's crazy is while we're a young team, we don't really have a lot of young guys that we can count on. But I'll tell you, I'm a big Jordan McGee believer. So I'm gonna give you Jordan McGee because they projected McGee to be starting this year. They drafted him to learn from Bobby this year and take over as a starter in his second season. And the injuries robbed him of that opportunity. I think he's going to show them exactly what they thought they were getting in his rookie season, and he'll be our starting middle linebacker next year. So I'm going to say Jordan McGee.
For my breakout player for next year, there's more hope than if I feel like it would do amazing things for this roster if Ben Sinnott broke out next year. If Ben Sinnott came out and said, hey guys, I'm going to be a starting tight end one day, and I'm not putting my hand in the dirt in the backfield to be Kyle's Juszczyk light. If Ben Sinnott came out and looked like the future tight end, it would do a lot of things for this offense because we could use some young athletic legs out there at tight end for Jayden Daniels. It would do a lot for the offense.
Man, it stinks to be in this position at tight end with all the talent that's coming in with this draft class. But you're right. You spent the second round pick on a tight end last year. You need him to give you something, right? So, and then what position would you guys? Did you want to jump in on that, Rico?
I was like, I just completely agree. Like that was literally, I was gonna say the exact same thing. This is more hope based than what I feel like is gonna happen. But we need Ben Sinnott to stand up. That was like literally my answer.
Please,
yeah. I mean, but that's if you call in a breakout play, that's pretty much what you're doing. Is you trying to project? Like, come on, bro, give me something, right?
Yep. Ben Sinnott.
Which positions would you be okay not addressing this offseason? Like they just totally said, "Hey, we'll get at it next year."
I guess, going back to tight end, just off of like hoping Ben Sinnott breaks out, and then also when in doubt, Ben Sinnott can block very well at the very least, and Zach Ertz can, get open and run routes and make catches when we need him to. So it's like, we'll be okay. Like, we'll be all right. But I guess tight end, like we can
that's
whistle next year.
The number one position that I expect them to do nothing at.
Backer.
Yeah.
Linebacker.
They're going to do something there because Michael Walker is
that something? Is that something though? Like,
I mean, yeah, I mean, they gotta bring somebody in that spot. I mean, that's not a needle moving,
Michael Walker can't come back for the league minimum.
No, he can't come back. He can't. No.
I mean,
there's certain dudes where you like, no, you can't come back.
Dominique Hampton slide into his spot.
Yeah, that's what you expect to happen. Is Dominique Hampton to be ready to take the red shirt off and give you something this year. He can't come back.
I'm thinking tackle only because I do want to see Brandon Coleman. I think they believe in Brandon Coleman clearly. So let's see if he can improve. Maybe he could be the breakout. But he had a good season too. So let's see if he does break out into a really good left tackle next year. It could happen.
Okay, so
Wiley, they're going to bring back Wiley. They're not going to cut Wiley.
Right. Let me take that a step further, Ed. Let me ask y'all this: would y'all be okay with them bringing back the entire offensive line as is?
Well, Biotis is going to be back. Cosme's coming back from injury. So
so let's say Cosme. Let's just go with the assumption that Cosme's healthy.
I'm cool.
Yeah, Cosme's healthy. Cool. I'm good.
There were times last year when everybody was healthy. They was working. They looked good.
I've been trying to tell people that. Don't nobody want to hear that.
There was some times where Washington's O-line.
Right. But remember, Bears fans like, he's got a great offensive line. And remember how the narrative switched when Caleb was struggling and our boy was playing good ball?
Brian Baldinger was all over our offensive
how many
line.
times was A.Q. Shipley on Pat McAfee's show giving our offensive line some love? Like, it seemed like it was every week. So
yeah, Myles Garrett had 0 pressures, 0 sacks, 0 touchdowns.
I brought that up today.
Empty sheet, clean sheet.
When we were healthy,
TJ Watt was held to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. When we were healthy, the offensive line wasn't bad. There were games where Jaden was like untouched. Like he would be back there for 5 seconds building a house, right? I mean, think about the Detroit game, right? We weren't even fully healthy then. I think we had all 5 of them out there before Cosme went down. But that entire game, Jaden was standing back there building a house, bro.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it wouldn't be the end of the world, is what I'm saying, if they brought the entire offensive line back. But I know there's a lot of people, and I was leading the charge with, hey, we need a new left tackle. But I think they're gonna give Brandon Coleman another shot. So we'll see what happens. Devon Cash, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Devon writes, "What's good, Kings? What up? What up, though?" He says, "Hope y'all are doing well. Likewise, haven't caught a lot of the stream live, sadly. But anyway, if you all had to say your dream top 3 picks, who would you want who would you want them to be? Essentially, top 3 picks. Again, that's tough. Pick one guy that you would want, and Rio, not name Omarion Hampton. Okay,
Ashton Genty." He said dream. He said dream.
Okay.
He said dream. We ain't woken up right now. We said dream.
Okay, you're right. You did say that. You did say dream, which gives you the opportunity to say some crazy shit that will never happen.
Abdul Carter.
Hey, we met with him. Hey, we met with him. We did. We met with Ashton Genty, though.
Due diligence.
Yeah.
Travis, crazy beast.
Yeah.
Hey.
That's wild, man. Devon, you can't be giving them outs like this, man. If you want a real answer, you can't give them out.
Only word I see there is dream. Man.
That's it. That's it.
I'm not gonna lie though, I'm stuck between Walter Nolan and Michael Williams because I truly believe they're 2 top 8 talents in the draft. Like if we're just talking pure talent, those are my 2. Like,
Nolan is a freak, bro.
That's I'm leaning towards Nolan. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, I hope, I wish, but after watching Jalen Carter do what he did, ain't nobody passing up on an opportunity to get a guy with that kind of talent.
Can't miss out on that.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I guess for me, you just want something worth having at 29. So I was a big Matthew Golden fan when he was back at Houston. Okay. When I'm watching Tank Dell tape, I'm like, who is this dude opposite of him? This dude's nice. And it was Matthew Golden before he transferred over to Texas. So I've been a big Matthew Golden fan for a very long time. And I'd love to have a crack at him at 29. What about you, Ed?
Yeah, I say Emeka. I think Emeka. You can't go wrong with Ohio State receiver.
You know what? I think he will be available at 29. He's got to blow up his pro day to not be available. It's crazy how the whole entire Ohio State team just passed on the combine, essentially. Like, yeah, no, we'll just do it at the pro day. None of them dudes ran, like, other than the 2 running backs. That's it. And Trayvon didn't do any on the field work, if I'm not mistaken. He just did the 40 and bounce.
Yep.
So it'll be interesting to see what Emeka runs. I hate when dudes do their 40 at the pro day because
it's cap.
Right, right. Like they'd be like, yeah. I mean, several people had him hand timed anywhere from 4.47 to 4.52. Like, okay, well, which one is it? Like,
COVID. I remember the COVID year 40s, man.
Oh man, come on. Jamin Davis, legend has it, he ran a 4.2 something, right? Like
everyone ran a 4.3.
Yeah, like what? Man, please. I hate pro day 40s. Colin Talk Sports. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Colin writes, I give it a week before fans are asking for Travis Hunter at 29. And Howie Roseman says he will trade up so we can't draft anyone. That was a wild statement when Phil Yates was like, and he said it kind of matter-of-factly, like, if the Commanders are interested in trading for Myles Garrett, the Eagles are gonna snake them. Like, what?
He was gonna do what? He was speaking very like informed too.
Yeah, oh no. Ain't no way we letting them get that smells like fear. Is what that is.
I hate how cool Howie Roseman is too, bro. I ain't even gonna lie. Like, I hate how much I rock with Howie Roseman, bro.
He got hit in the face by a beer too.
Hey, that man got hit in the face with a beer and then said, "I bleed for this city."
I love Howie. I rock with their GM, man. I rock with their GM.
That guy hit in the face, was bleeding, is like, "I bleed for this city."
That was a bar.
That was without question. That was a bar. I was like, all right, respect.
I was listening to him talk about the difference between the 2 Super Bowls, and I was like, oh, this dude's real, man. This dude compared it. He compared it to losing your virginity and knowing what you're doing the next time you get that opportunity. And I was like, oh, this dude here, I like this guy.
Rio, he can relate too much to that. That's why
he's a cool dude. He's a cool dude. Every time I see a mic in his face, he's cool. He's charismatic. I hate that, man. I hate those guys.
I'm about to say you being too nice because this is the same Rio that watched. He went behind our backs and watched the sound, the mic'd up from the Super Bowl. He was over there watching all kinds of Eagle shit. You gotta watch Rio, man, because
I wanted to know
the line, man.
I wanted to know what it felt like, bro. I wanted to know what that mic'd up felt like, bro. I want to know it. So when I get there, I'm like, yeah, man.
You just said what Howie Roseman said, right? Essentially, like, hey, I want to know, so I know what to do right the next time, right? oh man, that's terrible.
Good times.
Rosario Satara Pileski, my guy, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Writes, hey Louie, can I get a shout out for my first promo video about my book called Light Sensitivity Pain Reduction Techniques for Electronic Devices? You just essentially gave your shout out, but big ups to my guy, Russ. He has been working his tail off on his books, and
congratulations, man.
Yeah, man, he's been at it for a while, and I'm so proud of the progress that he's made. And now he's got his first promo video for one of his books called Light Sensitivity Pain Reduction Techniques for Electronic Devices. Big shout out to my guy Russ, and really appreciate you. And y'all check out his book, man. Check out his book. Check out the promo. And look, that's some real stuff he talking about there. Light sensitivity. Like, why you think I be wearing these glasses? Y'all think I'm doing this for a fashion statement. No, this is from looking in the computer screens. These are blockers and staring in the goddamn on lights all goddamn day. Like, there's hazards to doing what we do, right?
Definitely.
Some of y'all think carpal tunnel is a real thing. Like, if you work with computers all day, that's a real thing. Yep. So is staring at computers and monitors all damn day. So that's some real stuff, man. Really appreciate you, Russ. Y'all go check him out and support for sure. Noah Livingston, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Noah writes, Deebo's 2 best seasons came from the Niners facing more man coverage. Expect a big year from him considering we see lots of zone because of JD5. He's going to see a ton of zone. And like I said this once we lost to Philadelphia, that one of the biggest things we needed was run after the catch. Because when you play teams like that who are as disciplined as they are and want to play 2 high safeties, you're not going to get the big play against them very often. So what you got to be able to do is what Terry did on that slant, right? Break a tackle
and go
and run, right? And make something, because you can't against a defense like that expect to nickel and dime them, because we specialized in the 13 play drive, right? Picking it up on 4th down if we didn't get it on 3rd down. We specialized in that. And we were doing it to them too. But all it takes is one mistake to blow up your drive. And unfortunately for us, they came in the way of fumbles in that NFC Championship game. So you need guys that can take a 5-yard pass and make it a 18-yard pass.
Playmaker.
Right? That's what Deebo brings.
Nobody had it harder than Jaden with his players getting tackled within the 5-yard line, at the 1-yard line. Man, that's gonna be a beautiful sight.
Yeah. That's why he made sure he did his little dancey dance when he scored on the Eagles.
I got to. I got to. They were making fun of him, but hey, I had this one planned. I'm getting my shit off. All right.
He was hit that.
Yeah. That was Corey. That was the choreography was tight. He
hit a whole TikTok trend.
King of the Bluegrass. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, I think Milton Williams is a must in free agency. A must. And release or trade Jonathan Allen. It would be an upgrade in a pass rush and run defense. It'll be interesting to see if they agree, because while you're not wrong about what he brings to the table, he was one of the highest defensive tackles in terms of pressures in the league last year. But you're going to have to spend money. And in a deep defensive line draft class, do you want to spend money, or do you want to be able to say, I got me a guy and I'm not going to have to pay him a lot? So the question is, do you trust in your staff to draft and develop, or do you just want a ready-made product? And you're just like, look, we trying to win now. We're trying to maximize Jaden's window. That's the question you got to ask yourself. What do y'all think about that?
Ideally, I would trust them to draft a guy. I just wish we didn't have to draft a defensive tackle in the first 2 days of the draft 2 years in a row.
I mean, we drafted a first-round tackle 2 years in a row. Right?
We sure did, and that pissed me off.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I mean, I've seen the reaction.
Everybody was debating Payne versus Vea, and I was sitting over there like Minka or Derwin James. Like, what are we talking about?
I was a Derwin James, or he was a linebacker / edge rusher out of Virginia Tech. It's 2 of them.
Was it Tremaine?
Tremaine Edmonds. There you go. Tremaine Edmonds. That was my guy. I was a Tremaine Edmonds guy.
Wanted him so bad, man.
Yeah.
I wanted Minka or Derwin. Like, I needed air, bro.
Yeah.
So bad.
Yeah.
But all of them.
Yeah. Anybody but Payne. That was pretty much my angle at that time, and they did the one thing I didn't want them to do. So what do y'all think about Milton? Y'all got any thoughts on that before we move on?
Yeah, great player, but yeah, just like you said, the price tag. He does rush the passer. He had a great Super Bowl game. He had a great season. Mm-hmm. So if they really feel the need to do it, then I'm with it. But yeah, I just hate spending that much money or draft capital on defensive tackle. Like, definitely didn't plan on doing that, but we have to now.
Yeah, it's going to be.
Can he stop the run?
Deep draft. It is a deep draft.
We do need somebody that can stop the run, eat up double teams, all of that.
Yeah, if he can stop the run, like that, I mean, I'm not mad at it, bro. But if it's just a pass rushing defensive tackle, I'm like, let's go find one of our own.
Yeah, I think he could stop the run too. I think because think about the Eagles front, and it wasn't just the 2 Georgia defensive tackles on first and second down. Milton was in there too. And it was tough running against them. So
it's crazy. Running or passing against them, they don't even got to send extra guys. Their front four just holds it down.
Well, that's the value of an interior defensive, lineman, because that's why I don't know if you were paying attention at the combine, but it's a lot of big ass defensive tackles, like 320 and 330,
like big ass Deion Walker or something. Yeah,
bro. These dudes they're coming in vogue again, because in order to be able to play that too high shell that you saw the Eagles play so prolifically, you got to be able to stop the run without bringing any extra guys down in the box. And the only way to do that is to have dudes that eat up double teams. Why do you think Zach Bond was so damn effective? Right?
We need a nose type in the middle somewhere, man.
But that's not how Dan Quinn and them roll.
That isn't, and that's why his defense don't ever stop the run.
Yeah,
that's why Dan Quinn ain't never coached the defense that stopped the run too. That's another
not how he roll, man. You got to get a Grady Jarrett type and hope that he just ball, right? Yeah, because that's how they operate. They don't operate with those big dudes like you talking about. The Commandalorian, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Commandalorian writes, "Hey fellas, what up, man?
What's up?
Can't wait till Monday. And Lou, I'm still greedy for the 40 Burger City. I know. We all greedy, man. Them 40 burgers were delicious last year, man. You know the recipe. Let's get it. Fun Bunch 2.0 with a mean streak. If you want that, you need Christian Kirk. You need Christian Kirk if you want that. He wants DK Metcalf bad, but I don't see it happening, bro. I don't see it happening. I think he's more likely to end up in Green Bay than he is here.
You see, Matt?
My guy, C-Mac, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Chris, as always, really appreciate the generosity, man. You the man, dude. Hey, Lou, Rio, Rico, and Ed. What up, Chris? Hope everything is well. Likewise, as always. 3 questions, 1 and 2. How much has the talent gap changed between us and the Eagles in getting Samuel? And what does the team need to do in free agency and the draft to pass them? You're gonna have to do it. It's not possible in just this year.
Yeah, roster wise, we can't pass them this year. That doesn't happen. Even Miles Garrett wouldn't pass them.
We still would have massive holes still left on the roster.
It's a 5-year build the right way.
Yeah, it's a process, right? And in that time frame, they've got to take steps backwards too, right? Hoping that we can meet them. If you want this to happen faster, they've got to lose Milton Williams, Josh Sweat, and those have serious ramifications. Like, they don't replace those guys, and the guys that they bring in or draft or whatever aren't as successful as those guys. That's how you chip away at what they're doing, right? Like, they moved on from Slay. He was still a quality player for them, right? The next guy they put in there needs to stink, And I don't know if they're going to move Cooper DeJean outside or if they're going to leave him inside and go get them another corner, or put Kaylee Ringo out there. I don't know what they're going to do. But that next guy needs to suck ass, right? Because they had a really good group of, guys in the secondary. And then 3, what do you expect from Ben Sinnott this season and why? We kind of talked about that already. You're just looking for this guy to step up and give us something, right? 5 catches for 32 yards and a touchdown. That's not good enough.
Yeah, that's one game. That's a season full of 1 game stats.
Facts.
I was like one Larry Center's line right there, man.
How much? So has the talent gap changed at all between us and the Eagles to you guys?
It helps.
It helped. I think it helped. It didn't make a significant thing. Just like you guys brought up, their offensive line. Saquon just made the extension. I think we have the better quarterback, of course. But
Same.
not just one guy in Deebo is going to change. Like, if you had Deebo, Myles Garrett, Christian Kirk, and then add Charvarius, then okay, you were talking. But just Deebo is not going to move the needle a lot. But like I said, 3 more guys like I just named, then now we're talking. But the quarterback's better. Our quarterback's better.
I mean, it's a quarterback's league. So, like, to Lou's point, we're not going to be better top to bottom than the Eagles within the next, especially not this year, but really the next couple of years. It's just going to have to be the Jaden Daniels effect. We're going to have to beat them because Jaden Daniels just outperforms their quarterback. Like, I expect Jaden Daniels to outperform a lot of quarterbacks in the NFL most of the time, more times than not.
And that's a great point, Rico. It's like, our roster doesn't have to be the Eagles roster because we have a better quarterback.
And it's very hard to get a roster like that.
It is very hard to do that, but we don't have to. That's the beauty of having one of them ones is the Josh Allen, the Bills. How many Pro Bowlers, All Pros did Josh play? And that's why I think he won MVP too. Like, how many did he have on the roster? Can anybody answer that?
Did he even have another one on his roster other than him?
He didn't, right?
Yep.
He didn't. James Cook might have made the Pro Bowl.
James Cook
at running back. Maybe. I'm not sure about that. But he didn't have anybody else. Meanwhile, Lamar Jackson has like 6 All Pros and 5 Pro Bowlers or whatever. Same thing with the Eagles. And when you look around at other guys, they have all this talent around them. Josh Allen doesn't. And he elevates that team. And that's what Jaden Daniels can do as well. And so your roster around him doesn't have to be great to win and win big, but you do have to put talent around him. So I think, because this is the thing I always keep saying, is yes, it was 55-23.
It was.
And you can't get away from that. And nobody wants to hear your excuses as to why, but my quarterback wasn't the reason it was 55-23. And if the guy, and I keep saying it, I'm gonna keep saying this until it's no longer relevant. We were in the exact same spot we were in the week 16 game, or it was 16 game. If Austin Eckler doesn't fumble, you're in late in the stages of the third, driving to score with a chance to get this to a 1-score ball game.
Yep.
Which is exactly where we were when we played them in week 16. Driving, he had the 4th down run at the end of the third quarter. We scored a touchdown to start the fourth quarter, and we ended up scoring 22 points in the fourth quarter and beating them. And so we would have been in that same exact spot. Again, that's not what happened, and they blew us out. But I don't think we're as far. I don't think we're as far off as everybody thinks. But again, this roster has to improve. Like, you can't assume, and again, this is the low-hanging fruit, but you can't assume that you're going to complete a Hail Mary, right? That you're going to have some of these. Like, I just think because you got Jaden, you're going to win a lot of close games at the end if he's got the football in his hands. That's just me.
Clutch gene.
So all these people saying, well, they're not going to win all these. If he's got the ball in his hands with a chance, I'm taking my guy 10 times out of 10. So we'll see what happens there. There's no catching the Eagles this year. I think I speak for all of us when I say
roster-wise.
Yes.
But yeah.
No, roster-wise, exactly.
Yeah, you get better as a team, and Jaden's ascension, because he's a game changer and a difference maker, along with the additions that you add, is what gets you over them. You're not going to out-roster them. No one's going band for band with the Eagles roster.
At all. And that's across the league. Like, they got the best roster in football. Like,
yep.
That's not just we chasing. Everybody in the league's chasing that roster, but
easy.
The question is, can you beat them at specific positions? Some of the more important ones, none more important than quarterback, to kind of cut a corner or two to give you a chance to close that gap, and that's what we have on our side. Gilberto Martinez. It's the reason why they want to quote unquote snake us from not being able to get Myles Garrett, because they know.
Yep.
We got one of them ones at quarterback.
Sure do.
If we didn't, then why would they care? They wouldn't care. Gilberto Martinez, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Writes, what constitutes a good season for Deebo to be re-signed? I think it's what Rio said earlier, right? Combined for over 1,000 yards of all-purpose offense. And I think the big number for him is touchdowns.
A handful plus of touchdowns to go with all-purpose.
Yeah. I think that's the key, is if he has a whole bunch of yards but doesn't get it in the end zone, it's easy to kind of downplay it. But he scored 11 touchdowns, 4 on the ground and 7 receiving. Like, you can't.
It's undeniable.
Yeah, you can't ignore that.
Be in shape, stay in the right weight range. Don't punch a kicker in the face. Yeah.
Hey, what Rio say? What's the Rio?
Sometimes you gotta hit a specialist, man.
Gotta smack
I'm
the
just saying, bro. I'm just saying, bro. Like it could be a rookie, it could be the long snappers wilding. You know what I'm saying? If there's anybody that is okay to hit on the football team, it is the kicker, probably not the punter, because Tressway's the man, and the long snapper. So hey. Somebody got to take one.
Yeah, so it's 1,000 all-purpose and like Rio said, a handful of touchdowns, and we can talk next year. He's an interesting one because I'm like, in my mind, I'm already on some 1-year rental stuff. All right, give me my 17 back, peace, right? But he could be back next year.
Yeah, there's a world he hoops for us. Like he makes himself like he's not expendable. Like we need to keep him. Like there's a world where he comes out and him and Jayden have a rapport, and he's out here cooking out the backfield and all kind of stuff.
If you knowing what you know now, seeing that Ayuk is available, would you have preferred him over Deebo?
Last year, yeah.
Last year, not this year. Not after ACL, MCL.
Absolutely shredding his knee to pieces. I would have give me Ayuk.
Yeah, okay.
There's a reason why they're trying to trade him. They know his knee is probably.
They trying to give him away at this point.
Yeah,
they're
we all on the same
Williams trade
contract. That contract hard to just give away with a hurt knee.
Christopher McLaughlin, my guy. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. My guy C-Mac writes, hey, Lou, Rio, Rico, and Ed. 2 questions. 1, what are 3 things you want Dan Quinn to do differently this coming season and why? And 2, what positions or players do we need to sign to make free agency an A grade and why? So 3 things you want Quinn to do differently. Let's all of us give one thing we want him to do differently. We'll start with you, Ed. What's one thing you want DQ to do differently this year?
It's so tough because he did a lot of really good things this year.
He did.
So.
They should have won Coach of the Year, but at least the players voted him the best coach in the NFL. That matters more, so I'll take it.
Right. I guess aggressiveness with the running back position, but I don't blame him for that last year because B-Rob had he had a solid 2 or 3 years to start his career, but I do want to see him be aggressive as far as acquiring a player, and it's not his decision too. It's really up to Adam Peters who makes the final decision, but I would say that, and then the second was what positions or players do we need to sign to make free agency an A grade? Yeah, I mean we all agree on Charvarius, we agree on Christian Kirk, and I think an edge rusher. So that, and then a defensive lineman. Maybe it could be Milton Williams. Maybe it could be Josh Sweat. If they do miss out on Charvarius, like you said, Mike Jackson, I do like DJ Reed. I know you guys aren't high on him, but I do like.
I'd be glad to have him. I'd be glad to have him.
Is that a Maryland thing, Ed?
Yeah, he'd be a good consolation prize. He'd be a good consolation prize if you miss out on some of the top corners, like Carlton Davis. If you miss out on him too, so those are some of the free agents that I think, and then free agency too that you need to sign. Like I keep saying, some of our own guys. You need to bring back some of our own guys. There are some guys that I do feel like need to come back that will help this roster, like Jeremy Chin. I do think Zach Ertz deserves 1 more year. Bobby Wagner, I wouldn't mind him either. And then Mariota, even some of the backups I think are pretty crucial, like Noah Marcus Mariota. I think there's some guys that are backups that you definitely should bring back.
Yeah. One thing you want Dan Quinn to do differently, Rico.
I mean, to Ed's point, he did so many things really well. I would say, I mean, and we already kind of did this. We already started it off with Deebo a little bit, but I would say that, make a couple of splashes in free agency. I know, like, we typically try to go, and that's more of an Adam Peters thing, maybe, but I feel like Dan Quinn does have an influence on that. I know we're going to try to do, like, we're going to try to get a lot of people for fairly cheap at, at very good value, but I would like maybe like another, like at least one splash name. Don't just stop at Deebo. Let's go a little bit further. Other than that, Dan Quinn, I can't really ask for too much more from what he gave us last year, man.
And if you want to knock out the other one while you're there, what players do they need to sign to make it an A grade in free agency?
got to get, especially like a Travarius Ward level player. If not, DJ Reed is a good consolation prize, like Ed said, but I prefer a Travarius Ward. I guess maybe I'm probably higher on Ronnie Stanley than most people, but I want Brandon Coleman to take over for Nick Allegretti, and I like Ronnie Stanley at left tackle. I feel like now that he's fully recovered from his injuries, remember he had like a crazy high ceiling before the severe injuries, and I feel like he's just now, it's taking him a couple of years to finally get back to that. So I think we'll be getting him at the best time while he has his best days ahead of him. And then I'm assuming we're bringing back Bobby Wagner. I would still like to see if it would be magical if we could bring back Bobby Wagner and bring in a Dre Greenlaw, but I think they really do like Jordan McGee, and I like Jordan McGee a lot as well. But for like an A+, you give me like a Dre Greenlaw that's involved in that room right there, I would be ecstatic.
Rio.
An A grade is hard to get for an off season, especially after we just turned a roster around and made the NFC Championship in year one. But what would I like Dan Quinn to change? I like everything about culturally how he set this thing. You know what I want him to change? I don't ever want to see a weekly captain ever again. I don't ever want to see a weekly captain. Let's put some C's on some damn chests and let's call it a day. I don't need to see Percival Butler as a weekly captain. Like I don't need to see Sheldon Day stepping out as a captain. I don't. It's like putting the little stickers on your helmet back in Little League. Let's put a C on our quarterback and a couple deserving players' chest, and let's move on from it. That may be a petty ass answer, but that's what I'm going with. Yeah. As far as
I like
an A free agent or an A off season class, like go get Myles Garrett, man. Go bring me Myles Garrett when Andrew Berry and them finally come to acceptance of that they have no choice but to move him. They really thought they was going to dangle some money at him in Indianapolis, and that his agent was going to be like, well, since you want to make us the highest paid defensive player in the league, sure, kumbaya. Right. His agent went there and said, no, we are not interested in your money. We are not interested in your money. Please ship my client elsewhere. We don't want this to get ugly, but it can if it has to. And he has to go. And I need to be told no. I need to have my trade offer rejected and told there will be no countering and y'all aren't getting him before I go spend big at one of these positions. So an A grade, it would have to be something substantial because you don't even really want to give A grades off of an off-season haul anyway. So something like a Myles Garrett, go get me like an Andre Cisco that can play free safety to add to this defense and round out the wide receiver room, and let's eat.
Yeah, that's so I'm a ditto that answer for the off season.
That'd be lit, man.
Yeah. I've already told Rio, speak it into existence, but I can't co-sign because I know it ain't happening. But I'm gonna let him go ahead and handle that. But as far as DQ is concerned, I'm with you on some petty stuff. I thought he was awful with the challenge flag last year. I want to see him be better with the challenge flag this year. He didn't know when to throw it. When he did throw it, he often was wrong and it cost us timeouts. I thought he threw it one time in the right spot and got jerked, and that was, I want to say it was against the Giants. Or he might not have thrown it in that game. Matter of fact, he didn't throw it in the second Giants game, and I thought he should have thrown it. And there were times where you go, bro, you have to throw the challenge flag right now. And then he didn't. Then the next time he would overcompensate because he was supposed to throw it and he didn't throw it. So he would throw it. And then he'd be like, bro, you're not going to win that challenge. What are you doing? So for us to have the guy that was in the NFL front office doing the replays for us, I didn't think we were very good at challenges last year.
Nope.
So
not at all.
I need us to be better in that department, and it starts with DQ. So that would be my gripe, and that would be the thing I would like to see him be better at in year 2. Queen Heritage Partners, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, would you say is trending up? Who would you say is trending up in free agency? Who would you guys say is trending?
Darius Slayton. Darius Slayton is slowly becoming the top target available at the wide receiver because he's under 30. He's over 6 feet, almost 6'2", 4'3", 40, and he has some very good production despite the fact he's played with nothing but ass at quarterback through his career so far. Darius Slayton is slowly becoming like wide receiver target, like 1 or 2 or 2 after Chris Godwin.
anybody with elite traits at a position where it's not a lot there. Like there's not. So I talked about this on my podcast that the fact that we're only 2 players franchise tagged in a year in the NFL, where the average of the last 5 years was 9.2 franchise taggees, was stunning. I called it though. I said there's just not going to be a lot of guys because teams are speaking loud and clear that there's not a lot of talented free agents, guys that we feel like we can't move forward without. We'll let you test free agency and see what happens. That said, there's some guys like Nick Bolton, for instance. That's a damn good player. And I think you're going to see guys like that, fly off. Or I can tell you right now, Josh Sweat, anytime you win the Super Bowl, the league is coming for your stuff. And you're going to get paid. And Josh Sweat is going to get paid. There's not a lot of edge rushers this year. It's just not. And so when you're at a premium position, and there's not a lot of options, teams are going to be willing to overpay to get you. So I would say a guy like Josh Sweat is going to benefit.
Yep.
I would say Milton Williams. I mean, even to the point that you said, like winning the Super Bowl, and also Osa's already off the market. So it's literally Milton Williams and Gap, and I guess everybody else. If you need a defensive tackle real bad, I mean, I guess maybe you could throw Jonathan Allen in there a little bit. But yeah, it's the Milton Williams show right now, defensive tackle wise.
Yeah, I would say Josh Sweat, Milton Williams coming off the Super Bowl win, and I'll go with our guy Diami. Man, Matthew Berry came out with the report that teams are looking for him, and he's going to get out of our price range possibly. So I would say, good for Diami. He had a good playoff run. So I think he's trending up, and he may get a little bit more than what we think. What I thought he was going to get, like $5 million a year, $4 million a year. He may actually get like $8 or something like that.
Yeah, I said this 2 weeks ago. I said, y'all think Diami is sitting around waiting for us to offer him something? Like I was seeing somebody on X was like, man, after getting Deebo, I'd love to bring Diami back on the 1 year. I'm like, Diami ain't come. Diami knew when, I don't know if y'all saw the exit interview he had, but they asked him, did he want to be back? And Diami was like, man, we're going to see what happened. Like, he won't even committed to coming back. He already knew, I'm out, bro. So there's a market for Diami Brown. And I think he's going to sign a 3-year, $24 million deal. Oof. I really do. Neil Rack, and thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, Kangs, what up? Says, are y'all in on Reddit? Did you see Crosby's deal? Oof.
He got the bag.
Yeah.
Big bag.
Big bag. It's the biggest.
Yikes. Are y'all in or out on Hassan Reddick?
I'm out after last year, after the whole thing, him holding out. And
it's very weird.
Yeah. So I was out on him. Talented player, though. But, if it's a 1-year cheap deal and Dan Quinn and Adam Peters with it, then sure, why not? But, yeah, I don't think that he's at the top of their priority at all.
For me, it depends on the deal. But also another problem on top of that is that I feel like our pass rush was all right. It needs to improve. But our biggest problem was stopping the run and edge setting, and that's not really Hassan Reddick's bag, even when he's at his best.
Mm-hmm. I feel the same. Like, I like Hassan Reddick, the player, highly productive sack getting player. I'm cool, man. Unless you are a edge setter, I'm not really prioritizing that. Like, we can get Hassan Reddick-ish sack production from Dante Fowler Jr. Like, and he's gonna cost more than that. And a name, he has a name that could get more dollars than he probably should be getting coming into this offseason. I'm cool on it.
Chris Hunter, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Chris writes, team offseason game plan's going to be wasted when we come out and not run as many screens. Don't know the reason we ran so many screens is because we had no run game. I think that's just a part of Cliff Kingsbury's offense. When you
they call him Screensbury.
Yeah, when you run the tempo that we ran, nobody ran more up tempo than us. Screens are a part of that. Yep. which is part of the reason why Terry didn't move sides of the field very often, is because when you're running tempo, it's hard to be on the left side and then sprint all the way to the right side of the formation. That's tiring out the receiver, and it takes a long time, which is counterproductive to going fast. So I think you're going to see the screen game again. And I think Jaden Daniels threw the third most screens in the NFL. Yeah. So I don't see that changing. Like, that's a part of our offense. It's a part of our DNA. And now we got a guy that can actually do something with them now. So
yeah. Oh, that Deebo screen game and the red zone gonna be wicked.
Oh yeah.
And not only him catching the screen, but him blocking for the screen too. Like, because
he's an animal.
He's one of the better blockers in the league. He's just so physical.
Yep, he's an animal, man.
And I think they took all of that into consideration when they went after him, because they love guys that can block. Part of the reason Jahan Dotson didn't stay here is because he couldn't block. Mr. Pink, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Mr. Pink writes, "Sup, Kings? What up, Mr. Pink? Hey, remember when we stomped the Lions in their own house in a divisional game? Remember when we had the best season of our lives?"
I live in it. I live in it, man. I live in it, man.
That game 2 days ago.
Did y'all see the video the team posted the season of Jaden?
Oh my God.
I watched it with my son. It was so joyous.
Bro. It'd be like 2 minutes of new content and everything else is recycled, and I'd be watching it like I ain't never seen it before.
Like it's the first time?
Every time it's like the first time, bro.
Staring up at the screen like, wow, this is really our lives now.
Oh. That joint was dope. You know, from them going from, him being a college prospect and all the way to the end. The craziest part I told my wife was that joint just abruptly ended at the line.
They cut that joint. That
was it. Yeah.
Throw away the tapes. Throw away the tapes.
They ain't showed nothing from the Eagles game. That joke was over after the Lions game. Like they could have at least had them like saying, man, not how, it had Bram Weinstein in the background, like not how we wanted this season to end, but the future's bright for this team or something.
Could at least put him at the podium or something like, this
nothing, bro. They cut that joint off after the Lions game. I said, dang, but it was dope, man. Anything they put out, they've been killing it, man. They've been killing it for sure. Good times. The Mike Show, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Okay. The Mike Show writes, "How y'all feel about getting Jahad Campbell and coming back for a corner day number 2?" I know me and Rio in particular said we would love Jahad.
Sounds peachy if he'd be on the board.
That man blew up the combine. He
confirmed everything at the combine.
That man won't be there at all.
He's a dog. His personality is what you want it to be too at linebacker.
Well, he got that Alabama personality, right? He got that John Allen mentality, right? Except he a beast.
He looked good coming off the edge too. Like he got bent. Oh, bruh, he's a dog, man.
I think that's where his highest ceiling is. I think he could be a really good off-ball linebacker. You want him to, but I think ultimately that edge rushing, I think that's his ceiling.
He's souped up Luvu.
That's the way I felt about Tremaine Edmonds coming out. It's the same thing when he was coming out of Virginia Tech. Like, you can play him off the ball if you want, but if you really want to maximize him, use him as an edge rusher. He looks like he's gonna be a problem.
Yeah, he's gonna be good.
The Real Telly, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, my guy. Telly writes, and he asked about getting a corner day 2. How y'all feel about trying to grab a corner? And let me see.
If we go get one on day 1 of free agency, I'm cool.
Ed was the only one that listed corner as a need.
So I prefer running back if one of them really good ones are there.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way if you get Charvarius, because you got Charvarius, Marshawn, Mikey in the inside, so your starters are set. Then you probably Noah. So that's 4. You usually keep 5 or 6.
Yep. On the roster, 5 at the bare minimum 5. Yep.
So you have room for one more. So I guess you bring back Kendall Fuller,
Bobby Price,
Kevin Seymour.
I ain't never gonna be mad at Kevin Seymour. Kevin Seymour treated my channel really well when we brought him in that week, man.
If he can pass a drug test, then Kayvon Seymour not get suspended for 6 games. You got 5 pretty easy. You got 5 corners pretty easy.
Yeah. The real Telly, my guy Telly writes, 3rd round over under when they draft a running back. That's a great question.
Before
you taking the under on that?
Yeah, I'm gonna take the under. I feel like the latest I want to take one, despite how deep the class is. We don't have a 4th and a 5th round pick, so we don't have a choice but to take one in the 2nd round. We don't have a choice but to take one in the 2nd round, bro.
Yeah. So our 2nd and 3rds aren't that far apart because we got the
is it 61 and 79?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So it's only 18 picks apart. But to your point, you don't pick again until 207 after 79. So 207, like
we'd sit there and pray for 12 hours that some running backs stay on the board till the 6th round.
Bro, not happening. You have to take a running back within the first 3 rounds and preferably the first 2. Like 61, I think, is where you have to take a running back. If you don't take one at 29. You have to take one at 60.
And there is a world where we definitely could be taking one at 29 because one could be the best player on the board.
Facts.
Yep.
I'm taking the under. I'm going to take the under.
Yeah. I'm going to roll after Gear Cell's comment.
Well, let's get to it. Gear Cell 1. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Gear Cell 1 writes, gents, always a pleasure. Just saw DK wearing wavy green yoga pants with some banana blue sandals and grits and cheese colored knee pads. Tragic. And some Bama blue, excuse me, not banana, Bama blue sandals with grits and cheese colored knee pads. What the hell are grits?
What is grits and cheese colored knee pads? Is crazy.
What is that?
What part of DC was he walking in though, or the DMV? You gotta say that.
Oh man,
was he in Bowie?
Oh man, that's crazy. Hey, if you got a skate, go ahead, man. We'll clean up these last 5 supers, man. Hey, we appreciate you as always, Ed.
Yeah, I'll see y'all. I'll see y'all on the group chat and next Tuesday for sure.
Sounds good, man. Appreciate you.
Peace.
I dropped in that RJ Harvey edited that I was talking about earlier. Before we move on to the next question, where are our heads at if through 3 rounds we don't take a running back?
Oh, we're losing it. We're absolutely going.
We're on YouTube, wilding.
Well, so I think we haven't discussed this off air, but I think you brought it up on the air last time, and I think it's perfect. Day 1, we all rock on our own channels, and then day 2, we come together and we do the stream together, right? We would be losing it on the stream because that's day 2. Like, we expect a running back to be taken day 2. And if they don't take one day 2, we're going postal, bro.
Yeah, because where are these 4th and 5th round picks coming from? We really finna wait to the end of the 6th round to draft a running back.
Now, look, I've said this, and y'all laughed at me when I said this, but if they're looking for a compliment to B-Rob, meaning B-Rob is still your lead back, you're just looking for some speed, some infusion of explosiveness, you can get one in the 6th round. Like a Donovan Edwards out of Michigan will be available. A Jaden Blue will probably out of Texas will probably be available.
But he's fast as hell.
Fast as shit. It will be available in the 6th round. Like there are options that will still be there in this deep running back class in the 6th round.
Ain't gonna be none of that starting shit though.
Nah, it ain't gonna be none of that. Hey man, he could all 3 down. Nah, all that's out.
Unless it's a Shanahan drafted him, that's not happening.
Right. And even they come with limitations, right? It's still an Elijah Mitchell, right? It ain't like it's still a Jordan Mason. It ain't right, it ain't nobody like you. Like, oh yeah, he nice. You're like, okay. Garendo probably they best back. That was what 3rd round, I believe, last year.
Garendo, he went like he went in the 3rd. I thought he went on day 3. Okay, he must have went earlier than I thought.
I think Garendo went 3rd round. I think
that boy fast.
Yeah,
that boy fast.
We were looking at Garendo. I might be wrong about Grant. You're probably right. He probably was a day 3 back.
Yeah, he might have went.
He was round 4. Round 4.
Okay, you was close.
Yeah, right there in that range.
So and I was looking at him because I saw that speed last year, and I was like, yo, we need some of that. So we would lose it, Rio.
Yeah,
we would lose it, bro. I can't speak for anybody else. I would go crazy.
I'd be pissed.
Oh no, I'd be mad. I'd for sure be mad.
Miggy, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, Miggy. Right, sup, Kings. How good is Christian Kirk outside the numbers? That I can't tell you.
Don't want to know. He's a slot receiver. We're not about to be trying to put square and round. No, we put him in slot and call it a day.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you. I just know he's a guy that can get open, but like Rio said, his best work is done inside. So let's not reinvent the wheel, right? If that's what he's good at, let him do what he does best.
My man Rob been screaming Damian Martinez. The running back, Damian Martinez.
What is it? Is that that's not Oak State, is it? Or is that Oregon State?
It's one of those states.
Yeah. And I just know he was second in yards after contact, only behind Ashton Genty too.
Yeah, I think he's Oregon State. I actually watched Damian Martinez.
He played for Miami, right? Miami.
Oh, you talking about the Miami running back?
The Miami running back with the dreads. With the dreads.
I think it was Ashton Genty, then him, then Travion, I think, in yards after contact per carry, something like that.
Yeah, he was okay. He ran like a 4.5 something though. Your second number can't be a 5. I'm sorry. That's just where I'm at right now.
He's productive though. He's productive, but
super productive.
I hear you.
Look, bro,
I hear you.
I don't want nothing that don't have a 4 as the second number.
I hear you. 4. Just like I like Caleb Johnson. That would not be the guy I would take.
No,
I wouldn't. No,
this ain't the Big Ten. This ain't Iowa, bro. I can't do it. I'm sorry. I can't sit here and preach for 6 years. I want speed and then be like, oh yeah, I'll take Damian Martinez who ran like a 4.59 or some shit like that. Like I'm trying to let me look up his
Scatterboo would have like his 40 would have. Oh man, that jump was about to be nasty.
Oh yeah, for sure it was.
He was about to run a 4.6, 4.7.
Martinez ran a 4.51. My bad. I think his first one was like a 4.59 or something. Then he got the second one was 4.51. That still ain't fast enough for me. Sorry. Like that, and the split was too wide. Like the first one was like a 4.56, 4.57, 4.58, 4.59. Then the second run was a 4.51, which is better, much better, but it's a big split, meaning you probably a 4.5 back for real, right? So I need some speed. Like Quinshon Junkins, he's cool because he's a all-purpose 3-down back, but even his second 40 was a 4.51, and I'm like,
Travion Henderson is who I really feel like we're coming away with next month.
Please, oh please, I need that.
That's who I feel like we're coming. I feel like somewhere in that second round, whether we coming up or we Travion Henderson, or we might have to take him at 29. Like I think that's who we're coming away.
Yeah, I can't see us giving away no more draft capital. So you either take him at 29 or you just got to pray he fall to you at 61. Because I just don't see us
trade back in the 30s, and that's your pick.
Yeah, probably so. Probably so.
Seems realistic for sure.
Doug H, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Doug writes, "Hey Kings, what up, Doug?
What up?
Do y'all think DQ could ever adjust the scheme to stop the run? I'm also with Rio to draft Hampton, who's hopefully available. Love him like Rio loves his hospital scrubs."
My God.
No.
My God, man. I used to work at the hospital, man. I loved it there, man. What a time to be alive.
Hey. Did you love the schedule though?
Not necessarily, but I love the scenery. Nice view. I was at Georgetown University Hospital, bro. It was lovely over there.
Oh, wow.
It was lovely. A little bit of everything over there.
Yeah. Oh, I bet.
Amazing talent.
Oh yeah, the Malik neighbors and them. Amazing talent. Amazing talent.
Top 10 prospects, can't miss. Good times, man.
That's a good question. Y'all think DQ could ever adjust his scheme to stop them, right?
Hey, he needs to decide that it's okay to have bigger defensive tackles. Like it's okay to have a guy there just for the purpose of taking on blocks, taking up space.
Yeah, I feel like it is more of a scouting thing, like how you build your team more than like scheme. Stopping the run is just one of those things. You big or you not, kind of like you can do all you want, But especially when you're going against an Eagles offensive line, there's no strategy against that other than having guys that are big and mean and physical.
Yeah. You got to match that. And that's not what we're doing right now.
At all.
David, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. David writes, if we can get Jalen Royals or Dylan Sampson in the draft, I feel like both can complement the team. So
like them both.
I'm about to say both are really good football players. I was actually disappointed that that Dylan Sampson didn't run the 40. We had a conversation about him on the last stream.
Because he plays fast.
He plays fast, but I told you I didn't think he would time well, and I think he confirmed it for me by not running the 40. He did everything else. He did all the drills, right, on the field. He jumped vertical and all that stuff. I think the only thing he didn't do was run the 40 because I don't think he felt like he was going to run well.
Mm-hmm.
So, but like you said, he plays fast. I mean, I think Rico was the one like, bro, I watched him, break off like a 90-something yard run against, I think it was Bama or somebody like that. So
it was he had a big run sometime.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely think he could be a really good. And I watched Royals against Boise. He destroyed.
Oh my God, he's so good.
Boise. Golly.
Man.
He crushed Boise. And if not for Genty, they would have beat them.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are two good football players, man. Two good football players right there. Paul Daly, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Really appreciate you, Paul Daly. Otis, ain't nobody come to see you, Otis. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Otis writes, thanks for the steady work throughout the offseason, man. We appreciate you for continuing the support throughout the offseason, man.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of fans, they check out once the game stop playing, but we appreciate each and every single one of y'all. It's 814 of y'all out there supporting us right now.
Our guys.
We really appreciate each and every single one of y'all, man.
Holding it down.
How would you rate DeMarcus Lawrence as an option? And one of y'all brought him up, I think. It might have been.
I did because I said Kyle Kennard is a DeMarcus Lawrence type, like a younger.
Yeah.
Like I can see that. Like, he's a DQ guy. I mean, and he's pretty good against the run as an edge rusher.
Oh, yeah, he is.
He's just getting up there, a little longer than, was he 33, 32?
Gotta be something like that. And what was his injury last year? Does anybody know exactly what it was? Because I don't know exactly.
I do not, but he seems to be on an injury report frequently over the last couple of years. But he's a DQ guy, and he would definitely fit the scheme. Don't think it would be costly at this point of his career. He ain't lit it up in a while.
Yeah, it would have to be really cheap.
If you tell me he's on some, I think off name alone, he's more expensive than Klee. But if you tell me it's on some Klee 1 year type stuff, would you be interested?
Sure, he knows the system. Clear Joey Bosa. I mean, Joey Bosa or Lawrence.
Oh, Lawrence for sure.
Lawrence, yeah, I'll take Lawrence. Even though he's older, that's
Easily
crazy.
Lawrence.
It's crazy.
Easily
Joey
Lawrence.
Bosa's 29 and he feels like he's 33.
Yeah, he feels like he's 40. Yeah, he feels like
injury
he's 40.
years, man.
Yeah. I take Lawrence in a heartbeat. I'm hoping that he would stay out. Both have had injury concerns, but Lawrence really was durable before last year. I think he was pretty durable. It feels like he was always in the lineup. Bosa hasn't been healthy for years. And even when he plays, he's not healthy. So I take Lawrence. But just on a 1 year deal. I don't want any more than that.
Oh, super one.
Yeah, that's it. I don't want any more than just 1 year. That's it.
It might really be a half a year deal though. At his age.
Hey, I look. Klee didn't practice ever, right? Like once a week, and we had Klee for about 15 to 20 snaps every week. That was it. He couldn't play anymore. So, I mean, Klee was like half a year. It felt like. So, I mean, that's the one thing I love about this group, though. They do take care of their veterans. Like, if you're a veteran, they're not gonna push you in practice. You're gonna get a vet rest day. They're gonna manage your snaps, all that.
See, this man Zach Ertz just played 20 games because they gave him Wednesdays off all season.
Yeah. He said that was the first time in his entire career he played all 17. Well, he never had played 16 games.
And he was like, "Yo, I've never seen a team do this many walkthroughs, and it's perfect. It's perfect. Everybody's prepared because we do hella walkthroughs every day.
Yeah, and it showed, right? Guys were locked into their assignments. It just sucked that in the biggest game of the season, it seemed like all that shit just went out the window.
It's just the quarterback versus the world.
Yeah,
Quarterback and Louie versus the world.
Yeah. Don't want to forget, and Ertz. Don't want to forget Ertz. Ertz showed
11
up
for 104.
Yeah,
What? Best game of the year?
Yeah, he
What?
went nuts.
Ertz said, "Y'all bringing me back
for sure." Like, I'm gonna just make sure y'all know.
He said, "I'm not playing for anybody but Kingsbury at this point." That's crazy.
Jaden, I would not catch a ball from anyone else.
Man, he touched me when he was like, "Man, I wish I was young. I wish I was 25 again and could play the rest of my career."
I felt that too.
Yeah, that one touched me, man. I was like, ah,
that was real.
Yeah, it was.
That was real.
All right, so that was the last super. And so, do y'all have anything to add as we get ready for free agency? The next time we meet, this team is going to look a lot different.
It is. We have no choice but to sign bro, we have 28 impending free agents. We have to sign 20-something people over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. Literally, our GM said, out of necessity to field a team, we have to be aggressive in free agency.
Football team. So just like last year, y'all better be ready to pump. Y'all better be ready to pump out some content because we're gonna be getting names, man.
Oh yeah.
Stay on stream activity.
That was literally my advice. My leaving words were gonna be, I know it's not healthy, but you may want to do like a rotation of 3-hour sleep increments because you're gonna miss something any 8-hour period you down. You're gonna wake up to something.
Oh, without question. It's gonna be crazy.
I got one more question for y'all too before we get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
What is a free agency move y'all would hate that we made next week?
Nick Westbrook a.k.a. Or anybody with a hyphenated name, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Keep them hyphenated name dudes away from me, man. I don't want no parts of either one of them.
I think any of them free agent running backs is the only thing I can really think of. Because then, like, as an excuse to not take one in the draft type of thing, right. I feel like that would make me sick.
Somebody said Raheem Mostert is available. What do you think? I was like, no,
I'm cool.
No.
I'm cool. No. I was probably gonna go running back too. I want no parts of that, man. Yeah,
Rico hit it right on the head, bro. Like, no excuses. don't come at me. We got Raheem Mostert. We got some feedback. They're like, don't you play with me, man. Don't play with me.
Lou gonna come around when we sign that touchdown demon, Nick Westbrook a.k.a. man. He gonna come around.
I'm hitting the yellow. I'm hitting the yellow pages, bro. The white pages. I'm hitting the white pages. I'm looking you up. I mean, you gonna just you just gonna hit somebody at the door. You know, like, bro, who the hell is knocking on my door at 11:30 at night? Hey, Rio, bring your ass outside, man. I know you in there.
I spoke that shit for existence if it came true.
Oh man, I can't wait, man. This is gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. I gotta go find out if Christian Kirk is one of those guys that will be a free agent at the start of the new league year, or did they cut him? Because if he's already available, I'm like, what are we waiting on? Let's go get that done.
Get it done. Right? Get it done.
Yeah. So, man, it's gonna look a lot different. Oh man, I can't wait to see what they do and come back and chop it up with y'all, man. It's gonna be a lot of fun. This is gonna be a fun off season. I mean, we already started off with a bang. Like Rio said, we started it off. We started off the off season with the Deebo Samuel trade. So now let's see, what we do for a follow up. I think.
Also want to remind people that people took less money to join our team in free agency last year after a 4-win season. Imagine like after Jaden Daniels, proven product 14 wins, including the playoffs. Like, I'm not saying we're about to get people at half price,
Mm-hmm.
but we are going to get people for probably less than what people expect. And also, people want people to remember, like, even just with Dorrance Armstrong's contract, for example, say we sign somebody for like $15 million a year, say 3 years. That first year is probably only like a $6-7 million cap hit when people are trying to do their math and stuff. Don't just literally just assume it's exactly $15 million a year. We just do that to kind of simplify it.
Right. Absolutely. Somebody said, my guy Kevin, the PRF, says Kirk has been released. So if that's the case, I'm looking forward to seeing him get signed tomorrow. Like, I think they need to make that happen ASAP. So don't waste any time. Get on that, get a head start, and put yourself in a position where that's one less thing you got to think about heading into free agency. Right. So
that's right.
Anything else y'all want to add before we go?
Let's roll, man. Let's get to it. Let's get to Monday, man.
All right. So y'all know what it is, man. If you're gonna come at the Kings, you best not miss.
We out.
Until next time, you guys have a good one. Take care. God bless.
Mm-hmm.
Night.
Hail to the command. Hey, hopefully next time we see y'all, Jonathan Allen, we got a pick for him. At least a pick swap.
Hey, something.
I need an earlier 6th round pick. A 6th round pick swap. I'll take it.
We need a pick in the hundreds, man. We skip all the way to the 200s. We need a pick in the hundreds somewhere.
Oh, man.